Talk. Thoughts. Bijou summons. Jutsu. Konoha. Almost 8 years since the Kyuubi attack. 6 p.m. An orange-clad boy was walking through the village. Blue eyes, sun-kissed blonde hair, whisker marks on each cheek, and an ugly suit. That was definitely the pariah of the village, Uzumaki Naruto. He was going back from a ninja academy with a big smile on his face, even though looks of hatred were directed at him. Nearing his run-down flat, his thoughts were directed to his birthday in 3 days. Since the incident when he was 4 years old, the Hokage would let him stay with his family for a few days so nobody would harm him. He would surely come this evening or tomorrow morning to get him. Looking around, his thoughts drifted to the villagers around him. They will see one day that they can't harm me anymore. Just a few more meters, and we'll be able to throw this stupid smile away from my face. Why would I be smiling when every morning I have a giant scar on my torso to remind me that they would gladly kill me if they could? Walking up the stairs, he noticed that something was strange. He could hear nothing from his building. No talks, no TV on, no screams, nothing. He went carefully to his flat, thinking that the door would be bashed in, but it was closed just like when he left. Something was amiss, though. The slip of paper that he always put between the door and the frame was on the ground. That meant that someone entered his house. Deciding to open the door, he put his back on the wall near his door, stretched his hand to the knob, and opened the door. An explosion rocked the building and sent him flying to the ground. He was lucky that he didn't open the door normally, or he would be missing his arm right now. Still dizzy, he tried to stand up, and then he saw it. A pipe was in his chest. He looked at it and fainted on the spot, blood pooling around him. Unknown location. He woke up in something looking like a sewer, but he was sure it wasn't in Konoha. He has already been here for a brief moment 4 years ago when he had gotten his scar. Last time, there was a voice calling to him, but before he could get near it, he woke in the hospital. This time wasn't different. A voice was calling to him, but it seemed to be in distress. He decided to take a look. The closer he got, the more feminine this voice was getting until he came before a huge golden gate. There was a red-headed woman clutching the bars, screaming at him. "Naruto! Naruto! Thank goodness you are here. Fast, I will explain everything in a few moments, but right now we are in a crisis. You are hurt and are probably dying right now. I can heal you, but I need you to take off the seal that is keeping my powers at bay. It's the talisman on the gate. Fast, rip it off." Naruto was perplexed. What was she talking about? He was here not hurt or anything. No, he was hurt. He had this pipe lodged in his chest after the explosion. If it was true what she was telling, he would risk his chance. He took the talisman seal and was ready to tear it off. But before he could do anything, a hand grabbed his own and has pushed him away from the gate. "Minato, you don't understand. Your son is in grave danger. I need him to tear it off, or else he will die." The redhead screamed at the man. Wait, did she just say? So, this man would be his dad? And Minato? The only person to bear this name in the village was the Yondaime. As he looked up, he could see the face of the man. It really was the Yondaime Hokage. Wasn't he supposed to be dead? "I won't let you trick us, Kyuubi. I won't let my son just take off this seal," said Minato. As he was going to just block out the woman, another one appeared. Another redhead, but her hair was much lighter than the woman's behind the bars. "She isn't trying to trick you, honey. She is telling the truth. Naruto-chan is really hurt outside," she said. "Kushi-chan, Kushi-chan," Minato and the Kyuubi said in unison. "Yes, it's me, Minato Kurama. But first we need to do something." Before anyone could do anything, she ripped the seal herself and the gates opened. "Kara-chan, please help our son." "Of course, Kushi-chan," said Kurama as she flooded the pipes in the sewer with her chakra. In the outside world, the pipe began to disintegrate and the wound started healing. Minato and Naruto tried to say something, wrapping their heads around what has transpired, but before any of them could open their mouths, the now named Kushina spoke. "I think you need an explanation. I never told you about my relationship with the Kyuubi because the walls have ears and eyes in this village, and if it got out, we would have been in danger. Now, dear, I think we should all introduce ourselves to Naruto here. Let me begin. I'm Kushina Uzumaki, and I am your mother." I think you know who I am by now, Minato Namikaze, and I am your father. But you must know me as Yondaime Hokage. This might be strange, but I am the Kyuubi. My name is Kurama. Naruto had enough at that moment. Yondaime is his father, the woman before him is his mother, and the other one is the Kyuubi. He couldn't compute any of his thoughts anymore, so he just fell on his butt and started rocking back and forth. After a few minutes, he composed himself and started asking questions. Where are we? What is the Kyuubi doing here? Why she's a woman and not a 50M high fox? Are you sure you're my parents? The Sandaime always said that I was just a clan-less orphan. How are you both not dead? We are in your mindscape, Naruto-chan. When you were hurt, your consciousness was sent here. About Kurama-chan, it's going to be a long story, so just sit and let us tell you. And thus the story of his birth began. How a man ripped the Kyuubi out of Kushina, and how he forced Kurama to destroy the village, to finish how they sealed her. With that, Kushina finished, and now we are here. But what do you mean, clan-less orphan? We told the Sandaime to hail you a hero of this land, because after all you saved this village. Naruto darkly chuckled and started taking of his clothes, revealing the scar that went from the top to bottom of his stomach. It was jagged and not well sutured. You see, I never was the hero you wanted me to be. I'm the pariah, the scum and demon of the village. This was the gift the villagers gave me with a cracked bottle for my 4th birthday. I guess I have to thank the Kyuubi here for healing me when that happened, said Naruto. You don't need to thank me, Naruto-kun. After all, I was the reason they hurt you. By the way, you can call me Kurama, Kurachan if you want. When she said it, Naruto finally got a closer look at the woman. She was around her 30s, around 165 centimeters tall. Even with her small frame, she held a regal and powerful aura around her. Anybody could see the power seeping through her red eyes. She was wearing a white kimono with just a purple sash to hold it around her body. Her face was that of a kind, yet stern queen. She was almost as beautiful as his mother. Still, thank you anyway. Without you at this moment, I would have been dead more than a few times, knowing that my fast regeneration was due to your help, he said with a small bow to her. Next, he turned to his parents and opened his arms as to hug them. They bent down to hug him as well. He touched their faces. They were so joyful that their son was forgiving them, but then he got a better hold of their heads and slammed their heads together. I had to check if your heads were as empty as they sounded to be. You guys were stupid thinking that they would hail me a hero. You left a newborn alone with the reason the village was destroyed, thinking he would be seen as the savior, said Naruto, as his parents could only look at him in shame as he had shown them their shortcomings. But as he finished, he came to them and hugged them, this time for real. But I understand why you have done it. You had to do it. That's why I forgive you. Though the villagers are another thing, I won't forgive them. They've done the unspeakable. Now, Kurachan, come here as well. Mom told us that you were almost family, so join us. As all of them were cuddling, Kushina told Naruto to change his mindscape a bit since he was the lawn here. He concentrated and the effect was beautiful. The ankle-deep water was transformed into lush green grass, the pipes with his chakra into multiple creeks and rivers. Seeing Kurama, he forced a simple yet cozy house for her since she wasn't locked behind the bars anymore. Thank you, said Kurama, as she couldn't comprehend what happened. She was the source of his pain, yet here he was giving her a place to live in this beautiful scenery. But why would you do that? I was the source of your pain all these years, and now you give me such a beautiful gift. There is nothing to forgive, Kurama-chan. It wasn't your fault, as it's not mine that you are trapped in here. And after all, you are family, since you were locked in my ancestors for so long. I should at least make your stay bearable. As Naruto pronounced his words, something wet hit his nose. Looking up, he could see Kurama crying, not able to speak. He caressed her head, having seen the parents do this to their children, and continued, "SHHH now, the tears don't suit such a strong woman as yourself." After a few hours of talking, the chakra that kept Kushina and Minato inside Naruto started to fade away. They said their teary goodbyes and began to float away, getting more and more transparent. But just before they would vanish, an ominous presence appeared inside Naruto's mindscape. It touched both Minato and Kushina, pumping something inside of them as they regained color and fell anew on the ground. Looking up, Minato knew instantly what it was. The Shinigami. Deathly pale face with red horns and white hair. He couldn't forget this sight from 8 years ago. All of the occupants in the grassy fields were forced to their knees just from the sheer amount of power it was exuding. Feeling it was enough, the Shinigami rained his power so they could breathe normally and opened its mouth. Do not fear me. I didn't come here to take any of your souls today. On the contrary, Kami has struck a deal with me that concerns all of you that by proxy you can't refuse or negotiate. Do not ask questions before I'm finished. The deal is simple. Kami, my superior, made me release and let the souls Kushina and Minato stay with their son for a small amount of time. It was strange the Shinigami didn't specify what the deal was, and why would Kami want Naruto to get his parents for a bit? Seeing the questioning looks, the Shinigami lifted his hand to halt their questions and continued his tirade. The Kami wants your parents to train you, young Naruto. A calamity is coming to this world, and you need to stop it. That's why he gave you the best teachers for around 6 months. The second thing is that Minato has the second part of the Kyuubi's chakra inside him, and without it, Naruto wouldn't be able to access the full power that was given him at birth. As he said that he grabbed Minato in Kurama's hands and transferred the Kyuubi's yang chakra into Kurama once again. Kurama never felt so powerful since she was torn apart 8 years ago. She opened her eyes for others to see that instead of 2 red eyes now, she had 1 red and 1 golden. Naruto needed some explanations, though. After all, he wasn't as versed in this world's knowledge as the Shinigami, a few centuries-old entity of power and 2 veteran ninjas. Sorry to interrupt, but I don't understand. What are you talking about? What 2 parts? Why are they so important that they need to work together? He asked, and the Shinigami glared at him for a second and answered. I told you no questions until I am finished, but I will forgive you since I was talking what appeared to be nonsense to your young mind. The 2 parts of chakra that were separated were the yin and the yang. Your father didn't know that when he ripped the Kyuubi's chakra in half. What you had was the yin part. It's the dark part of your chakra, coming from a mind empowering what you call jutsu. The second part is the yang, which was sealed in your father. It's the body's chakra, representing the light in you. Without the both parts, it cannot be mixed in right proportions, giving you a huge handicap. You see, Kurama could heal you only a little since she had barely any yang chakra within herself. That's why she needed to open the seal. But she couldn't heal you just like that. She used the unfiltered corrosive yin chakra to disintegrate the pipe that was lodged near your heart. That's why you need both of these chakras to use it at its full potential. Rewinding a few times what was said, Naruto finally nodded his head, showing that he understood and showing to the Shinigami to keep going. There is only one, but the power Kurama possessed could feed the dark side of your mind that you tried to hide under your smile all along. It would transform you into a rampaging beast, a berserker that would harm anyone around you, ally or foe. That's why I'll give you a favor and let you battle your dark side. Before Naruto could say anything, the Shinigami put 2 fingers on his forehead, and Naruto's eyes flipped and his body tensed up. Unknown place. Naruto found himself on the ground alone in some strange valley. Getting up, he could see himself with a sad smile and the same red eyes Kurama had. So, the Shinigami sent you here to battle me, to gain control over me. So how are you going to do it, head on? Trying to think on your feet? I am you. I know your thoughts. You won't be able to outsmart me. Dark Naruto said. That made Naruto think. If he really knew his feelings and thoughts, then an open battle or an ambush wouldn't work. But when he started to think, he heard someone crying deep in his head. He concentrated on the voice. He heard it was of a boy. Not any boy, it was himself crying in his bed to sleep. He could hear Dark Naruto's thoughts as well. He opened his eyes with a look of pity directed at his dark side. I'm sorry, I've burdened you with all of this and closed you off behind this mask of happiness. I was stupid doing the same thing the villagers did. I dumped all of my hatred and negative emotions on you. I will not battle you. The Shinigami said himself that you need both the yin and the yang. In this case, I am the yang, and you are my yin. I accept you. Dark Naruto smiled at this and started to disappear as Naruto said that. The dust that he created went to Naruto's heart, and an echo sounded throughout the valley. Thank you. Naruto's mindscape. The Shinigami lifted his fingers off Naruto's forehead. Naruto himself has fallen to his knees, closing his eyes. Have you conquered your dark side, young Naruto? Pressed the Shinigami. No, this answer put his entourage in a somber mood. I accepted him. He was me, my dark side, or should I call it my yin side? You said it yourself, Shinigami-sama. The yang cannot exist without the yin. And that's my proof. He opened his eyes that were just like Kurama's. His left eye was red, and the right was golden in color, showing that he could access both of the chakras without going mad. That's even better, huh? Normally, you shouldn't be able to access the yin since it would consume you and would only work as a stabilizer for the yang. But you consumed your own yin, making you accept the QB's yin. Now I understand why the kami chose you. Did he just receive a praise and a laugh from the entity that governed the macabre of this world? Yes, he did. And it was the best thing he could ever imagine as his birthday gift. I don't have much time left to speak with you. I will ask the three of you train Naruto as much as you can. I can only give you 6 months of this reunion. I will come back then to tell you about the rest of the deal that the kami made. Do not fret, it's nothing extravagant, but it won't be easy. As a parting gift, we'll let you know that the ANBU that were supposed to watch you are dead and replaced with strange people. Beware the cross. As he said that, the Shinigami disappeared, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Did they really get some time with each other, even if it was only in his mindscape? They could work with it, but they had more important things to do right now. Naruto-kun, you need to exit your mindscape right now. No one came to your help. Even if you're healed outside, you're still unconscious. You can't go back to your apartment since it's in shreds. Fast, you need to find a hideout. We can communicate with your thoughts. Said Minato. Naruto just nodded and concentrated on going out. Once he was out, he looked at himself. His clothes were in tatters, and he had a gaping hole where the pipe pierced his flesh. Looking around, he wanted to dash straight to his hideout in the village, but remembered that the ANBU that were watching him were replaced. He thought about it for a second, but couldn't find an answer. If he went to the streets, someone would attack him. He wasn't strong enough to go even a kilometer inside of the forest of death without being clawed by a 5M bear. And he couldn't risk someone knowing his location. Before he could boil his brain by overthinking, Kushina gave him a solution. Narichan, close your eyes. I will transfer you the knowledge about the Shunshin no Jutsu. You said that the Hokage normally would pick you up during your birthday. You could Shunshin inside his office. That way you would gain protection without revealing your hideout. Beware though, even if you know how the jutsu works, you haven't practiced with it yet, so you might hit something on the road. Maybe it won't be bad since he would look even worse when you appear in his office. That was a sound idea. Get protection from his Jichan, and at the same time, get the answers he wanted all of his short life, even if he already knew them. It would at least feel good to not be lied to anymore. He gathered his chakra, did the tiger seal, and teleported to the Hokage's office. He hit some walls on the road, but nothing you should mind right now. He found himself just in front of his Jichan and some other man. He looked at him and saw a cross-shaped scar on his face. He remembered the last words of the Shinigami, beware of the cross. He opened his mouth and said, Jichan, I need help, and he passed out from the hits he took on the road. A few hours later, Naruto woke up on the couch in the Hokage's office. He rubbed the drowsiness from his eyes and have seen the Sandame hovering over him. Hey, Jichan, everything okay? He asked, trying to make the old man smile to no avail. Naruto-kun, thank goodness you are awake. What happened to you? I was so scared when you appeared in my office, all battered up. The Hokage was almost shouting, distressed seeing the state in which his surrogate grandchild was. Naruto gained a mature look that was unfit for a child his age. I will explain everything, but it should be private. You should dismiss your ANBU and maybe look on the ceiling near the door. Hiruzen waved his hand to dismiss his ANBU and directed them to the place Naruto guided him to. It was strange when an ANBU fell from the ceiling when Hiruzen threw a kunai in there. The ambu in question had a blank mask, and when it was removed, there was a seal on his tongue. Can you tell me how you knew there was someone in the ceiling that even myself didn't detect? I will explain everything. Now you should probably sit down for this, because it won't be easy to comprehend. So it all started today, when someone put an explosive in my flat and almost blew me up. He said with a calm voice as if he was talking about the weather. Someone did what? The Sandame asked. Before I continue, do you want to tell me something? Naruto asked, looking longingly at the photo of the yondaime. Catching up to what was going on, Hiruzen did a few hand seals to cast a silencing seal on the room. I understand that I cannot lie to you anymore, Naruto-kun. I will be blunt. Hiruzen recounted the story of Naruto's life in shame. When he finished, he was ready to get screamed at or for Naruto to blow up, but he didn't. Naruto lifted himself from his seat, went to his grandfatherly figure, and hugged him. Don't worry, Ji-chan, I forgave you already. You protected me already well enough during my birthdays. Even if sometimes I got harmed, you shielded me from the worst. He went back to his seat and continued looking at Hiruzen with a smile. Though just for your information, have you lied to me once again, I would probably start my plan EE. That's for emergency escape. I knew that one day I could be forced out of here, so I prepare myself. Now it's time for you to learn something, since there are some holes in what you told me. Thus, Naruto told the old man about Kurama, showing him his eyes, about how he met with his parents and the Shinigami himself. And that's how I felt the man up there with the negative emotions sensing given to me by Kurachan. That's why I need to ask you for a 6 months training period out of the academy. Anyway, I wouldn't learn much from there since anyone, but Irika-sensei wants to sabotage me. If you don't believe me, ask for my assignments. Without thinking much, Hiruzen answered, granted. I will arrange everything needed and see through your grades and papers. Anything else that you would need, Naruto-kun? It was a no-brainer for the old Sarutobi. If what Naruto said about his parents' ability to transfer jutsu knowledge to the boy was true, then in a few months, and with the right regimen, they would have another powerhouse youth like Itachi. Yeah, can I sleep at your house since mine is blown up? Naruto asked with his usual looser behavior while scratching the back of his head. Oh, and Tuchan want to make a deal with you. He want me to be supervised only if in name, because it would be strange if I would improve drastically without a teacher. As payment, he would tell you how to defeat this. Naruto said, showing the tower of papers on the desk. Yes, you can all find someone after your birthday. Now tell me, what's the secret? Screamed Hiruzen, almost lifting Naruto by his clothes. I don't know what that means, but he told me to show you this, Naruto said with a sense of panic and made a cross seal. Hiruzen only sat down looking at it first. He showed a smile. Then he started laughing, and then crying and laughing again and crying again. This sequence repeated for at least 5 minutes until Hiruzen crossed his fingers and shouted Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Many copies of himself popped up and started doing his work. He stood up and took Naruto's hand and turned his face to the boy. Now, Naruto-kun, let's go to my house. Try using Shunshin on both of us. Don't worry, I will guide us out of the harm's way. That way you will understand how to turn properly with the Shunshin. As they arrive at the house, Naruto was spent for the day and asked if he could go to sleep right away. As the sleep has taken him, Hiruzen watched him from the door with a somber expression, such a young child with such a huge burden. He will be 8 in 3 days, and he already has a plan if the village wanted him gone. Time skips 7 days. The worst time has passed for Naruto with Hiruzen and his family. Since his wardrobe was destroyed, he asked for some clothes as his birthday gift. Now he was wearing black shinobi pants with black ninja boots. On the top, he had a black long-sleeve shirt with a turtleneck that served as a mask if needed, with an orange Uzumaki swirl on his right arm. And imagine Kakashi's shirt without his Jonin vest. He didn't waste his time, since he had only 6 months to master what his parents knew, or at least a part of it. His dad said he wouldn't be learning the Hiraishin. It wasn't a technique in his mind anymore. It was a weapon of mass destruction. He was scarred by the nightmares when he remembered what he did with it. He wanted the jutsu to disappear with himself. That's why he never made a scroll to learn it. Anyway, when they have seen what this new chakra of the Kyuubi could do, they knew he wouldn't need it. The yin chakra was corrosive, and if he coated a body part with it, he would burn and dissolve the thing he touched. The problem was that it burned him as well. To a lesser degree, but still the burn would be dangerous. On the other side, the yang chakra strengthened him many times as well as healed him. He could still remember what happened when he coated his fist with the golden flame and punched a tree for the first time. A perfect indentation of his fist was left in the wood, a feat that even some tuning couldn't do. Nonetheless, this strength came with a price of him becoming fatigued much earlier, even if he was the incarnation of stamina. That's why his tenants forced on him a monstrous regimen that would prepare him for future battles. His father transferred his hummingbird style into Naruto, a style that relied on speed and fast killing of the opponent. No mercy was given to the enemy, just a fast death. Anyway, Naruto didn't need a heavy hitting style since he could use the yang chakra to outpower the opponent or the yin chakra to slowly eat through his opponent if he couldn't get a fast finishing blow. Literally. His mother gave him her sword style, the hidden dragon style. It was then that Naruto understood the profession he was forced to take would lead him into a world of violence and bloodshed. It did something that Naruto wasn't sure was possible. With the use of chakra, it could transform anything into a blade. From his hand to a simple twig, anything could become a sword in his hands. Kurama couldn't impart him much since her fighting style was that of a 50m tall beast. In short, not suitable for a human. She only gave him the knowledge about her chakra and how to use it effectively. In short, Naruto had a lot to practice since even if he knew the styles in his mind, his body wasn't ready for them. They required muscles that everyday life didn't solicit. They decided that right now the best would be for Naruto to learn how to use the basics of his taijutsu and the empty handstance of his kenjutsu, as well as the control over the yang chakra. Right now, it was almost midnight, and Naruto was coming back to his house that he repaired with some shadow clones that he hinged to look as simple carpenters. Looking around, he saw a woman on the ground holding her side that was bleeding profusely and 3 men over her. The snake bitch is at last where she is supposed to be, on the ground. Now before you die, we will have some fun, one of them said with a sneer. The woman on the floor didn't want to die like this, humiliated and soiled. Someone please save me, she cried in her mind since she was too proud to show it. Naruto, please help her. These men want to do unspeakable things to her, pleaded Kushina. No, answer Naruto. I know what they want to do to her. I already helped her once, and do you know what happened when I went in to save her? She ran, leaving me alone against 3 adults that beat me up so hard that even Kurama-chan had to heal me for 3 days because of the amount of broken bones. He said that with anger in his voice. Please, Naruto-kun, help her. I understand that you hate the fact about what happened last time, but please save her. Don't let her die like the trash soiled on the ground, raped by her own villagers. Kurama pleaded with Kushina. If something happens like that time, I will show you all what happened 4 years ago, so you guys understand why I hate the villagers. Naruto reluctantly obliged and pumped the yang chakra in his legs, engulfing them in tongues of golden flames, and sprinted at the group. Before the man could touch the woman on the ground, something golden flashed in front of his eyes. Naruto swept the woman and put her 20 meters further from the place. Seeing she had a kunai lodged in her side, he decided to hasten. He put up his mask, just in case, and turned around thankful that there was barely any light to illuminate his blonde hair. He turned around and have seen what were the eternal genins, people that were over 20 years old yet never had any success on the field and either stayed genins or died on the missions. The luck was on his side. He pumped even more yang into his legs and arms and rushed at them, knocking them out before they could even see his face. He put them all in the trash and sprinted to the woman. She was barely conscious because of the blood loss, but before she passed out, she told Naruto where she lived. He could heal her with the yang chakra, and even if he brought her to a hospital, they would think he was the one who did it. He grabbed her arm and shunshined them to her home. Quickly thinking on his feet, he took off her trench coat and her mesh. He had a grim expression looking at the wound. Even if he healed her with the yang chakra, The kunai that was in her has been old and rusty, leaving bits of metal in her lungs. She wouldn't live long if it stayed there. He took out the kunai and started using the yin to disintegrate all of the metal and rusty bits of the kunai. He burned himself to a high degree because he had to control precisely the chakra, and the only way he could do it was by taking the toll himself. When it was done, he started sealing her wound with the yang. She was in the clear now. Looking at his hand, it lacked skin at many places and hurt like hell, but he didn't have the possibility to use any more yang or he would pass out himself. So he just took a towel and bandaged it for the night. Leaving her home, he closed the door and shunned into his house to get some sleep. Next morning, the woman from the previous night awakened groggily without any pain in her side. She remembered now. She was saved once again by the Uzumaki brat. She concentrated on her surroundings and have seen two figures over her two and only friends Yuzuki Yugao and Kurinai Yuhi. "Enko, what happened to you? We were so scared when you didn't come last night," said Kurinai. Before Enko could understand everything that happened last night, she said, "Uzumaki brat." The beauties in her house gained angry looks on their faces, and before Enko could tell anything more, both of them shinned to the said Naruto. Naruto woke up when someone smashed into his door. His had still had burn marks because Kurama didn't want to risk giving her host any damage by forcing any yang chakra. He looked up and have seen the two women. One had unruly black hair, red eyes, and a strange dress. The other was in a standard ANBU gear with a katana drawn and ready to kill. They both shouted at him, "What have you done to Enko last night, you bastard?" and lounged at him. He evaded the kunai from the black-haired woman, but he has put himself in the strike of the purple-haired woman. Her katana pierced his stomach, but a strange golden flame appeared around the wound. Scene never should have helped her, he said to his tenants that were in a state of panic. Naruto, however, grabbed the offending katana and plunged it deeper, making it come out the other side. This was a painful tactic, but it gave him the way to grab the attacker and try to pummel her with a yang-enhanced fist. It didn't work as the raven-haired woman started the seals for a jinjutsu. At the same moment, Enko came through the door and shouted, "Stop!" But it was too late. Kurinai has already put the boy in the jinjutsu. Yugao took the sword out of his gut, but the flame sealed the wound, not leaving any trace. The boy, however, started spasming, knowing he was already in the Megan. Narikomi no Jutsu. Enko ran to him, trying to stabilize him, so he didn't harm himself while spasming. "Enko, what are you doing? He harmed you last night, didn't he? Let him rot in the jinjutsu," asked Yugao. Kurinai lifted the jinjutsu. "You guys fucked up big time. He saved me last night. I will explain later, but now lift the fucking jinjutsu up before he bites off his tongue," ordered Enko, and Kurinai could only do what she was told. The spasms stopped, and 30 seconds later Naruto came back to reality with an angered look directed at the three women in his apartment. "Great, next time that one of your friends is about to be raped, I will remember to not help her if getting stabbed and put into a nightmare is the thank you. Maybe I should even call a bar so everybody can enjoy. Sincerely, fuck you. Now, get out of my house. I would tell you to close the door, but you dimwits bashed it in." "What do you mean raped?" gulped Yugao, seeing the blood dripping from her swords. "Haven't I told you to get out? Well, if you insist, ask your friend there what happened last night. And maybe the night 2 years ago," he said, disgusted by the three women. He could feel shame in them, but he didn't care. "I was drunk again last night, and these three eternal genins ambushed me. They stabbed me in the side and were going to rape me. Just before they could, though, Naruto here rushed in and saved me again. I guess he brought me home and healed me even though I don't know how," said Enko, angry at her friends who held their heads down, looking at their feet with Yugo trying to hide the blade behind her. "What do you mean again, Enko-chan?" asked Kurinai, but Enko didn't want to answer this question, to which Naruto rose back to his feet. "You see, when I was 6, the same situation happened though that time. I didn't have the strength to beat them or defend myself. Thinking I have the backing of a ninja who just needed the distraction to counterattack, I did it." He paused there, shooting a glare at Enko, Well, she needed a distraction to run away, leaving me to get beaten almost to death. But hey, I guess I should be happy that she didn't join them, seeing how your group says thank you. We are so. They said in unison, but were stopped in their tracks by Naruto. Yes, yes, sorry. Keep it to yourselves. You showed how thankful you are already. I don't need to know how sorry you are. I had enough things lodged in myself today. I changed my mind. Can you stay here because I need to find a new door and don't want anything more destroyed today? As Naruto stomped out of the house and Shunshin somewhere. We fucked up big time, didn't we? Let's hope he doesn't tell Hokage-sama, or else we are neck deep in shit. Said Yugao. Yes, we did, but he won't do it. The Hokage won't be able to do anything to us since we are all Jonin or ANBU, and the council will protect us. It won't matter, said a sad Anko. Only Kurenai had a blank look on her face. The kid pushed a sword through himself all alone and was beaten to death, at least few times if she remembered right. She forced him to see something even worse with her Jinjutsu. He is 8 years old. We didn't even think what we were doing. I subjected an 8-year-old to torture with my Jinjutsu. Finally, Kurenai opened her mouth sick with herself. With Naruto. Are you happy now? I knew that would happen in the end. If not for Kurama-chan, that would have been an instant trip to a hospital. Oh, wait, the hospital would have let me die, said Naruto to his mother and Kurama. They couldn't even tell that they were sorry. Naruto has done something good, and the world smacked him for that on the head. Once I install this new door we're going to train, I need to be stronger so situations like these won't happen anymore. I can't even tell the Hokage. He won't be able to do anything. The council will sweep the entire thing under the rug. He neared his house with the wooden board in his hands. No need for a new expensive door. It would be destroyed anyway. Not paying attention to the 3 women inside, he summoned a clone to help him replace the door. He put on the last bolt and turned around to them. Can you please tell me why the fuck are you still here? I have my door on. No need for you 3 trying to coax me into being sorry by doing my bed and cleaning my blood off the floor. We want to know how you healed me last night, and why is your hand still burned when you healed the stab within a second? At this, Naruto looked at his hand that he forgot from this ordeal and pumped the yang chakra inside. The flame engulfed it, and a few seconds later, it was as new. Like that, and I burned myself trying to disintegrate the metal bits that were lodged inside Anko's side, if I remember her name right. The guilt on their faces was now clear as water. He burned himself to the point his skin was non-existent to help their friend, and they tortured him. Nice. If you want to know more, you can go ask the Hokage, he finished with a smirk. They couldn't unless they exposed themselves. Now, I think you girls did enough this morning. They couldn't argue anymore, so they quit his flat and went on with their lives disgusted by themselves. All of them, but Kurenai, who wanted to know something else. What have I made you see in the Jinjutsu? She asked. For fuck's sake, you really want to know? Then sit down, I will tell you what happened 4 years ago, and let you imagine what have I seen in your Jinjutsu, he said with Kushina and Kurama listening intently since he never told them what exactly happened. That night, some sick fuck decided to see if I really was human, so he took kunais and crucified me to a wall. Then he took some broken glass to be sure that it hurt as much as it could. He opened me up and started looking what I looked like inside. He made everything to keep me awake the entire time. 4 straight hours of cutting and inspecting. The trip to TNI would be more pleasant for a 4-year-old. He chuckled darkly as he lifted to show the nasty scar. Something normally impossible for the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Kurenai looked as she was going to puke. Back in her days, every academy student were forced to see what was going on in the TNI to prepare themselves. They were only shown the light version of the section, but still left many of them scarred. Yet this boy in front of her said it would be pleasant to be in place of the prisoners that were tortured. She got up, and with tears going out her eyes, she quit the house. Finally, Naruto could go at last to the training ground in his hideout to train. Next day, Naruto got up today without anyone barging through his door. It was a good day until an ANBU sporting the same purple hair as the woman who stabbed him yesterday came to him. Hokage-sama wants to see you, Uzumaki Naruto, she said and shunshined with him to the office. Naruto was greeted by the Hokage and his clones inside. The grandfather looked at him and said, "Good morning, Naruto-kun. I chose someone for your guardian. I think you can relate with her in some way. Now, please let me introduce you Anko Mitarashi." Naruto gained a scowl at the name, and when the 20-something-year-old entered the office, his scowl deepened, and her face fell, still ashamed. "I refuse Yichin. But why she is a jonin and can teach you very well with your other teachers. We have a conflict of interest. If you want to know, you can ask her yourself." The Hokage turned to her and motioned for her to speak. "It would be better if my friends Yugao and Kurenai were here." He asked instantly for them to come in. When they did, their faces fell, seeing the blonde inside, thinking that he snitched on them. "Now can someone tell me why 3 of my Jonin Kunoichi have a conflict of interest with an 8-year-old? Hiruzen was getting impatient. "Yesterday I got drunk, and some eternal genins tried to rape me. Naruto, here, saved me and healed me while burning his hand. He left me only in my bra. That's why when I woke up, Kurenai and Yugao thought he was the one to do something to me, and Yugao stabbed Naruto while I put him in the hell viewing technique." Finished Kurenai, awaiting the wrath of the god of shinobi. She wasn't wrong when the killing intent made all 3 of them go down on their knees, with Hiruzen showing a furious face. "You 3 imbeciles, you are at least old enough to know that a prepubescent boy isn't interested in women. Tell me how you imagine him doing something to her with his dick only serving only to pee at the moment." He roared at them. "Naruto-kun, are you okay? I can't imagine what have you seen in the Jinjutsu." Hiruzen went back to his Jichon mode, still forcing the Kunoichi to the floor. "Let's just say it was worse than 4 years ago and leave it at that. Don't worry, Jichon, you know, I have a high pain tolerance that struck a chord in the women. They have seen it yesterday when he pushed himself on the sword. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, but you know I can't punish them. The council wouldn't allow it. But I have an idea." The Hokage chuckled darkly, letting the women stand up. "Yuzuki Yugao, Yuhi Kurenai, Mitarashi Anko. You have a new long-term mission. You're to train Naruto Uzumaki for the next 6 months. Normally the pay would have been a monthly S rank, but as punishment it will be only an A rank for each of you. Now, Naruto-kun, you should begin your training right away." He told Naruto, who quit the office with a smile, getting another 3 powerful teachers instead of just 1. "Okay, everybody grab me. We're going to shunshin so nobody can follow us." Unknown location with Naruto. They were brought inside a strange underground lab of some sort. Before Naruto could show them what was where, he was halted by the questions. "Where are we?" "We're in a secret lab of a guy named Orochimaru. He researched something called the Curse Seal here. Real nasty stuff. Though I think I have a way to take it off. Maybe not right now, but maybe in a few weeks," he trailed in his rumblings. What he didn't see were the faces of the girls. First it was disgust at the name of the Orochimaru, then sadness at the mention of the Cursed Seal, to elation when they learned about the possibility to take it off. Anko couldn't wait and fired her questions. "How can you take it off?" "The seal master of this village tried and could only seal it off. The same way I disintegrated the metal and rust in your wound. What will you hear now is an S-rank secret. You can talk about it, but it will throw you and everybody you know in prison or straight to execution. You sure you want to know?" he asked, seeing the glint of hope in her eyes. Then he remembered when he had seen Anko almost naked. She had one of the prototypes on her shoulder. "Yes," they answered. "Okay, it's a long story, so make yourself comfortable." And thus he began his story about the explosions and what ensued. That way I could disintegrate the seal on the chakra level. The problem is that I don't have the necessary control over Een to do it without disintegrating my whole hand. Now, they understood why he missed some skin on his hand yesterday, and they understood the sacrifice he made for her. Anko looked him in the eyes and bowed. "Thank you. I never said it, but thank you for the last time and this time. I never thanked you." "Lift your head, Anko-sensei. A simple thank you would have been enough. Now shouldn't we start the training, senseis?" Naruto told with a scratch to the back of his hand and spawned 10 clones. Time skip 5 months. If you asked Naruto how his last 5 months were, he would sum it up in one word: rough. The training was rough. Not only his tenants forced him to practice their specialties and jutsus, but his physical teachers were giving him a tough time as well. When Yugao learned that he was learning the hidden dragon style, she has gotten a malicious glint in her eyes. She was a kenjutsu expert using her dancing moonlight style. She wanted to spar one day against a hidden dragon style user one day, though when Kushina died, the last user died as well. Now that Naruto was learning it, she has gotten another chance for the spar. True, even if he mastered it, he wouldn't be able to make her go all out because of his lack of physical strength as a child. But in a few years, she dreamt. Since then, Yugao would always train Naruto in kenjutsu until a point which Naruto accepted her. She had this half-annoying big sister half-caring mother side, which appealed to Naruto. Anko was a bit down because she couldn't force him to become like her. He had his mischievous side, but he wasn't as outgoing like her since he dropped his mask. He became more composed, and his pranking lessened. Instead of quantity, he went for quality. Her primary objective as his teacher was to give him pointers in nin and taijutsu in the real world. Last, but not least, Kurenai was the most depressed out of them because she was virtually useless to him. His massive chakra reserves disabled any use of genjutsu by him, though she supervised his chakra control, both his and Kurama's. Speaking of his teachers, their relationships changed by a huge factor. At first, Naruto couldn't stand in their vicinity for more than 15 minutes, making them be his teachers only in name. That was until the three kunoichi couldn't stand it anymore and forced him to at least speak to them, which wasn't that hard. After all, he was strong, even very strong for his age, but they were seasoned jonins. The second one to break the ice was Anko, who followed him everywhere until he gave in. They sat in silence for a few hours until Anko told him her life story and why she was so unbelieving when he told her that he could take off her seal. Naruto found the words of the old Hokage true. They really could relate to each other as he recounted his own story, which was much worse since he couldn't defend himself. After that night, he focused even more on the control of the Kyuubi's chakra. He wouldn't let someone else's life be dictated by a seal that was forced on them. Even more since her seal didn't have any real purpose and only hurt her. Speaking of controlling this power, the last one that Naruto warmed to was Kurenai. She could only supervise him in case he did something stupid while practicing. She was beginning to feel more thankful to the kid when she saw what training he did to liberate her close friend from clutches of an evil mastermind. He began to learn how to use seals. He was far from being a seal master or even considered good by Konoha's standards. He did simple seals on paper and then tried to erase them without even touching the paper with the In chakra. The problem was that such a precision aggravated the toll on his own burns. This was even worse because the damage would have dispelled his clones. So, every evening he finished with a hand that lacked skin all over it, to a point where he once went too far. The pain was unbearable, and the In started seeping through his wounds, making them worse. This time, Kurenai has put her craft into a better use. She put Naruto into a genjutsu that soothed him right away, making him regain unconsciously reins over his powers. Flashback. Naruto woke up with a feeling of something wet hitting his face. Groggily opening his eyes, he has seen the face of Kurenai, a crying Kurenai. Did he do something that made her cry? Seeing his eyes opening, Kurenai hugged the boy with a smile. On the contrary, Naruto wasn't very fond of the action. He didn't like being touched by strangers. Yes, he did hug Kurama or his parents, but his life taught him that contact with strangers meant pain. He struggled to get out of the embrace. Kurenai responded by frowning and keeping the boy even stronger in her arms. Unconsciously, she knew why he tried to run away, but her instincts told her to keep him. When he finally eased in the embrace, Kurenai spoke. "Why are you trying so hard? You hurt yourself so much to help Anko. You really don't know how to say thank you, Kurenai-sensei." She blushed at that with a small pout. "It's easy. Ji-chan said that I could relate to Anko, and it's true. We both have seals and pasts that force us into being pariahs of this village. That's why I want to help her that much. No need for two people forced into living hell because of a seal." Kurenai widened her eyes, listening to that. She hugged him even more and started to whisper, "Thank you. You don't know what that means to us three that you want to help Anko this much." Flashback end. This training was going well until it hit a wall about 1 month ago. Naruto has gotten good enough to destroy any kind of seal written on normal paper without suffering any injury. This had some additional perks because his control over yin and yang was very good, making all of his teachers astounded by the progress. The problem was that Naruto could only erase a seal on paper. He wasn't sure if it would be good enough to not harm a human with the yin. He couldn't ask anyone to let them apply seals on them to try and destroy them. With a bit of thinking, he got an answer. It was the chakra paper. It was so sensitive to chakra that even a small amount would show someone's nature, even civilians. That was the wall. It was so expensive that the amount he needed to train would exhaust a family's monthly budget. He needed money, and he knew what to do. Flashback. "So how are we going to finance this project, Naruto-kun?" Anko asked dejectedly. "I have an idea. We're going to trade information with Ji-chan for a hefty sum. To be exact, the information about all of Orochimaru's hideouts in the village." Naruto responded with a naughty smirk. Hokage office. Naruto and his 3 friends entered the office. The sight pleased Hiruzen as all 4 of them were smiling and Kurenai was roughing Naruto's hair. Finally, Naruto gained some friends even if they were more than double his age. "What brings you here at this fine day?" asked Hiruzen, taking a puff from his pipe. "I want to trade crucial information, Gigi," answered Naruto. "Oh, and what would it be?" "You've already given me the secret for the paperwork. Let's say for a price of 1 S-class mission, I give you info about all of Orochimaru's hideouts in the village." This put Hiruzen straight into his Hokage mode. This wasn't a simple matter anymore. If they could gather data about his older student from there, it would greatly benefit the village. "Naruto, how did you come to get this intel? Tell me." Quickly, this scared Naruto a bit. Gulping, he answered, "You remember about my plan EE. The place that I chose for my hideout turned out to be one of his cleaner laboratories. Inside, there was a map with all of them inside the village. I will be cautious, though. I've been to some of them, and most of them aren't as pretty as my own. If it's true that map is worth much more than a simple S rank, I will give you an equivalent of 2 S ranks. Now give me the map." Naruto unsealed 2 scrolls and given it to him. "There is the map. I erased the location of my hideout, so in compensation, I've gathered everything in there that belonged to Orochimaru and sealed it in the other scroll." Sarutobi opened the scroll and gave a nod. He took a piece of paper and scribbled something on it. "Here, take this downstairs. The Chunin will give you the money." "Yugao-sensei, can you do this and go by the necessary amount?" "About 4 kilos. It would be easier if someone with a higher rank would do this." Naruto gave her the slip, but she refused. "I can't, Naruto-kun. I need to talk to the Hokage about you. The 3 of us already talked about it. Please, Kurenai, can you do what he asked?" Hiruzen looked at her quizzically, and after Kurenai left, he motioned her to speak. "You see, Hokage-sama, Naruto here grows fast, too fast. It would be stupid to send him back to the academy. He would destroy his class 10 times over with a single strike if he wanted to. It would be a waste of his talents to do it. I propose to enroll him into ANBU. We all know here that ANBU aren't only jounins. Sometimes we recruit even genins because of their abilities. Naruto-kun fits the bill perfectly. He's already stronger than any genin, and his abilities make him even stronger. He's like Tsunade-sama, a medic that can destroy keeps. I will let you look into that." Flashback end. A few days ago, Naruto perfected his use of yin. Even if by accidents, he discovered many times his affinity for wind and slight fire caused by Kurama's chakra flowing through his body since day 1. He found a way to disintegrate seals written on the chakra paper. He did so by using both the yin and the yang at the same time. The yang would create an almost infinitely thin border around the seal, making a vessel for the yin to flow through the chakra, infused ink, and leaving a perfect and usable chakra paper behind. Today was the day to free Anko. The preparations were complete. For the last hour, Naruto spent time with his interior tenants, making sure that everything would work perfectly. He entered a room where Anko was sitting in only her sports bra, a necessity for kunoichis. Kurenai and Yugao were holding her hands to relieve the stress. Naruto stood in front of them, looking Anko straight into the eyes. She didn't trust herself to speak, so she just gave him a smile and a nod. He nodded back and began. He touched her shoulder, coating it with the yang until it formed a light around the cursed seal. When he felt ready, he poured the yin inside the vessel. A few seconds later, he did something that even the seal master of the village couldn't do. He destroyed Orochimaru's magnum opus. To be on the safe side, he flushed her shoulder with the yang to neutralize any yin that could infect her. Looking at his fingers, he has seen some burn marks. He preferred to be extra cautious with Anko and made sure that any burns were given to him. It was a small price compared to the smiles his three friends gave him and a huge hug from Anko, who now had a perfect, unblemished skin. Time skipped 1 month. The time was nearing. The Shinigami would come today to take back the souls of Minato and Kushina. For the last few days, Naruto spent all of his time with them, unwilling to say goodbye. He knew that day would come, but he didn't want it to. It was Kushina that gave him a new perspective on this. She reminded him that outside, he had his Nei-chans as well as Kurane inside of him. Since the day that Naruto freed Anko, the three of his senseis became something else to him, a family. The mischievous Ankone, the annoying yet loving Yugaone, and the always composed, nevertheless easily flushed Kurenai. Mindscape. Naruto was hugging his parents, not wanting to let them go. They were all reminiscing the good times together during the 6 months, the training they put him through, the unconditional love they have given to him. All of his tenants were sure that they've done all they could to prepare Naruto for the future. They taught him everything they deemed in his grasp. The things he couldn't for the moment were stored in what they called mind gates. They would unlock when the seal algorithm inside would deem the young boy ready. He could rival now an early Chunin in strength, but he had invented a few techniques that could multiply his strength tenfold. One of them was what he called the Bijou Cannon. He found out about it when he learned how to shoot a small amount of yin or yang from his fingers, but anything more would throw him back because of Newton's third law. He counteracted it by shooting the chakra in 2 opposite directions. This countered the thrust he produced to the front and gave him quite a forced razor. And, yes, I based it on Tsuna's X-Burner from K-Char. Right now, he was on the process of concentrating the beam to, instead of getting a wide spread, he would get a long-range laser to kill from afar. Their rumblings were cut short when they felt the same ominous presence from 6 months ago. The Shinigami was back to take the souls of Minato and Kushina and specify the rest of the deal. Greetings, mortals. I hope you all prepared yourselves. Your time has come. Before I take you, I must commend the training you have given to the young Naruto. Don't worry, you will be taken to heaven instead of my stomach as a thank you from Kami himself. Now to the last part of the deal I've told you about. I need you to take the lives of 2 men who caused so much chaos in this world. The first one is Orochimaru the Snake Sannin, and the second one is someone who calls himself Uchiha Madara, yet he's a simple imposter. You've all met him once already. The hint is a spiral orange mask. When he said the last line, the room dropped a few degrees, and everyone was furious. That was the man that destroyed their family and lives. At least it was a good incentive for Naruto to train even harder from now on. Say your last goodbyes now, since you won't be seeing each other in a long time. Naruto hugged his parents, forcing his tears to never come out. He would make them proud and wanted them to remember him as a strong, growing, and cheerful boy. He wasn't going himself to spoil this memory by his tears. Hideout. Naruto came back to himself in the real world. He looked around and started crying for the first time since a long time. Soon his sisters came to soothe him until he cried himself to sleep with his head on Kurenai's lap. Sometimes you forget he's just a child. He's not even 9, and tomorrow he will begin his training in ANBU. Seeing him cry like that makes you question the order of this world, where children have to kill each other for their village," said Kurenai, brushing one of Naruto's locks out of his face. Next day, Naruto was brought to the Hokage's office by his ex-teachers, since yesterday their mission has come to an end. Today his life would change drastically. He would be incorporated into the ANBU. He shouldn't even be a genin at his age, yet the ANBU was going to welcome him. Like you've said, I pondered about the ANBU route for Naruto, and after you've told me about his exploits, it would be dangerous to make him go back to the academy. Kurenai, Anko, from this day, you regain your duties to the village. Yugao, or should I say Nico, you take Naruto to the ANBU HQ. They know everything, and his compulsory training will start in 2 days. Dismissed. Yugao took back her mask and put it over her face. She grabbed Naruto's shoulder and shunshined to the ANBU HQ. Kurenai and Anko took the more traditional way out of the building. That is, through the door. It's going to be much less lively without him, said Anko with a sigh, going to her house until the next mission. Meanwhile, at the academy, Irika had enough. It was Monday, he had a hangover, and his students were always the liveliest on Mondays. This was going to be a long day. He scanned over this class, still asking himself if the clan heads had an orgy or something. Most of the clan heirs were in this class. What are the chances for this to happen in a single year? This had to be planned. Suddenly a hand rose. This wouldn't be strange, but the person who raised the hand. It was the surest and meekest to be Kunoichi he knew, Hinata Hyuga. It had to be urgent if the girl dared to ask something in front of class. Yes, what is it, Hinata? He asked tentatively. SS-sensei, do you know what happened to Naruto-kun? The idiot surely dropped out, someone shouted from the back, making all of the class laugh. Actually, no, Akima. He was taken into an apprenticeship by a jonin. This was at least what he was told by the Hokage. The laughter ceased, and no one dared to say anything more until a screeching voice shouted. How the idiot had to be taken into apprenticeship, or else he would kill himself. The voice appeared to be coming from a pink-haired girl, Sakura Haruno. She was in this class only because her mother forced it. The laughs began anew, safe from a few people. The first one was Sasuke Uchiha. He was too cool to laugh and had better things to do, like having a stare-off with his arch-nemesis, the wall. The second one was Hinata. The last was a platinum blonde girl, Yameka Ino. She never spoke to the other blonde, but she always thought he was funny in some way. After everybody calmed down, Irika pursued with the normal art class. It was useless, but at least the brats shut up. Time skipped 6 months. Naruto just turned 9 today. He had a huge birthday gift presented to him by the ANBU commander. His own mask and the ANBU tattoo on his right shoulder, meaning he finally completed the ANBU training and would become a true ninja. Yugao came to the commander office with Naruto in tow for the inauguration, as she was the referent for the soon-to-become ANBU. Dragon was sitting behind his desk with a blank mask on his desk, as well as another nameless ANBU with the tattooing equipment. He motioned Naruto to go to the ANBU for the tattoo. 1 hour later, it was done. He was happy that the ink they used was chakra-based, so, unless you had to show it, it would stay hidden because he has foregone the sleeves on his shirt, as he always burned them off while using Bijou Cannon at full power. The other task of it was to identify real ANBU, because the tattoo had the chakra imprint from Dragon himself. Naruto took the mask, presented it to him, not understanding why it was blank. Seeing this, Dragon explained. The mask of an ANBU is like his ID. No one has the same photo on it, right? It's the same for us. The mask will give you your new identity when you put it on. Naruto nodded and tentatively put it on his face. Soon, purple markings began forming an animal. He produced an ox mask, an animal known for its great strength. After seeing what Naruto could do with his yang, he didn't have any doubts about it. Welcome to the family, Ushi. Stay in the HQ. Tomorrow morning, I will have the first mission for you, said the commander. Next day, Naruto was woken up by Yugao at 5 a.m. to announce that Dragon wanted their presence in his office at 6 a.m. When he got ready, she gave him a long box. I couldn't give you your birthday present yesterday. Happy birthday, Naruto. Come on, open it. Inside the box was a 50 centimeters long wakizashi. It was perfectly pitch black and fit into a matte black scabbard, suited for a ninja since a reflection from a normal blade could reveal your position. It was beautifully crafted. It is coated in chakra metal. That way you keep a normal blade's sturdiness with the capacity to put chakra out. I went for the wakizashi because of your style and the hien no jutsu you learned from Asuma. It was at the time when Kurenai traded her favor with Asuma to help Naruto learn the wind chakra. Yugaone, you shouldn't have. Thank you so much. He hugged his sister in a bliss. It's okay, Naruto-kun. Now let's go see Dragon before he chews us both for being tardy. When they entered his office, Dragon was sitting once again behind his desk. What did he do all day other than sitting? Did he sleep there? Was he even human? Perfect timing, 6 a.m. I have a mission for both of you since Nico, you are still his referent until the end of this mission. It will be simple. The Hokage wanted to see the firepower of Ushi in a real-life situation. Don't hold any stops. Nico will carry you back if you exhaust your chakra. Don't worry, it's all accounted for. He turned around and, given them the files, the mission is simple. Some Nukenin have gathered around 80 bandits around them. You're to infiltrate the camp. If there are prisoners, escort them out, and then raise the camp to the ground. Dismissed. As fast as they could, Naruto and Yugao ran to the place around 100 kilometers away. They spotted a good place to oversee the camp and check for prisoners from afar. Thankfully or not, there were none in this camp. Only bandits and Nukenins inside. This was good. They could launch an ambush attack at full power from the start. A few hours later, they had a plan. Yugao was here to only serve as emergency backup in case something went wrong. They waited until the bandits would be the most tired from the day, and the hour has come. Naruto made clones to secure a perimeter in case someone escaped. He recited the ANBU teachings. They aren't humans, only targets to kill for the good of the village. He signed to Yugao, who signed back to him. He gave her his hands, and she gripped them with all of her strength. She spun him around and threw him in the air in the direction of the camp. She herself went farther away, knowing the plan. When the bandits have seen a golden light in the sky, and someone screamed Yang Meteor, it was already too late. Naruto concentrated Yang in his legs and used the principle of the Bijou cannon to propulse himself to the ground at an immense speed. A few clones have done the same, unleashing a hellish blast of energy, evaporating anything in the radius of 10 meters around and throwing back everything else. The clones popped at the impact themselves as the blast was too much for them. The real Naruto, stealing his nerves, used his new Bijou cannon variation. He pumped Ine into his hands and thrust them outwards as to a normal one and screamed Bijou Tornado. It started with the streams of Ine shooting 50 meters at each side. When this was ready, he put his arms at an angle, making the thrust spin him around. Yugao herself was astounded. She hit the stop at her timer when the light from the Ine bubbly and red chakra died down, letting her see a perfect circle where nothing but Naruto existed. 30 seconds was the time he needed to destroy the camp. She wasn't sure if she would even be able to beat his time. It was the right call to put him to ANBU. Maybe he wasn't strong enough to fare against single strong ninja, but his role as a castle destroyer was fulfilled even better than she thought. In her amazement, she hasn't seen Naruto falling to the ground because of chakra and mental exhaustion. The ANBU were prepared for anything on the missions because they were 90% of the time veterans. Naruto was integrated into ANBU before he even became a genin the normal way. This had to be over 80 kills for his first one. It had to take a toll on him. She rapidly took him on her back, whispering, "You did good, Naruto." She sprinted straight to the HQ to give her report to Dragon while Naruto was still asleep on her back. "Nico, you are faster than I predicted. Did something wrong happen on the mission?" "No, sir. Everything went perfectly, and Ushi did like you told him. He lifted all of the stops, that's why he's still asleep." "Good, now give me the report." "We went to the destined location and positioned ourselves on a hill near the camp. Ushi used his negative emotion sensing to determine that there were no prisoners. We waited for the night to make the ambush. All it took was around 30 seconds for the camp to cease existing. Nothing was left. I took a photo to prove the carnage that was made. She took a photo from her pouch and given it to him. It showed a perfect circle of ground. The grass was annihilated as well as a few meters of the soil. That's almost alarming. That would put him on par with our rank demolishers at least at this occasion. I already have the report from the drill instructors about his strength, but I want your honest opinion about him. Ushi is the typical case of the ANBU that we take for their special powers and bloodlines at an early age. His personal skills are at most mid-chunin, which is above good for a child his age, but most of the ANBUs would destroy him. His skills wouldn't save him, since most of them require charging for a small amount of time. In the future, he should concentrate about his normal ninja skills. Understood. Good job. Your payments will be in your accounts by tomorrow. Take Ushi to the Yamanaka, as well as going to need a third, unbiased party to talk to. Dismissed, the accounts that ANBU used were different. They had their own bank that passed their funds through some other ANBU-made banks that accepted anyone. This way their identities remained well hidden. Yugao took Naruto to the nursing dormitories for him to sleep. She took off his boots, mask, and armor. Watching him, she smiled. Since they started training him, he went from a normal child to someone with a body made for combat. Nothing too bulky, just defined muscles started to show on his arms. She was happy for her little brother. She gave him a kiss on the forehead and skipped her way to her boyfriend. Next day, Naruto was out of the nurse station when the medics discharged him after checking for his chakra exhaustion. The sight of Yugao, without her mask, greeted him out of the room. She could feel he was a bit gloomier than most of the time. Hello, Naruto-kun. Dragon has given us some orders. We're going to the T&I department for you to talk to someone. Hi, Yugane. If I have to then, let's go. He took her hand, an action he hasn't done in ages, and they strolled together to the building while talking about everything and nothing. When they arrived, they didn't go to the torture section, but what was written on the door was ANBU Psych. It was a place for the ANBU to get their mental health in check. They were professionals, but they still remained humans. Sometimes they needed to see someone to talk to. This was the place. It had only the department's heads, such as Yamanaka, Inoichi, and Ibiki Marino. He may have been a sadist, but this made him particularly knowledgeable in how to help the victims as well. Naruto was destined to meet the Yamanka. He was the guy that served as the psychiatrist, while Ibiki was more of a psychologist. Entering the room, he has seen a platinum blonde man around his late 30s. He had a kind smile looking at his next patient. Good morning, Naruto-kun. In here you aren't exactly an ANBU. You are my patient. That's why we will be on a name basis. Do you want Yugao to stay with you, or do you prefer her to wait for the conclusion? I prefer to be alone for this. No offense, Yugao, but with you here I won't be as comfortable as with a stranger that won't judge. She understood that very well. Closed people tended to either try to help with soothing words or would judge you even if in the slightest. He needed someone that would just listen or give genuine professional advice. I will wait outside. Don't worry, Naruto-kun, said Yugao, quitting the room. Do you want to start, Naruto-kun, or would you prefer for me to ask questions? Inoichi asked. I want to start before the feelings of yesterday start to fade. You see, I was in the class with one of your clan members, Ino. While she is learning how to throw shuriken in the academy, I was already killing people. I knew what it entailed thinking I was ready. And I was until I have seen the massacre that I did yesterday. I have killed around 80 men in a time span of 30 seconds. And it was only the first time. I will do these missions often now. I know that I was always supposed to be a weapon for this village. It scares me that I will grow so accustomed to this that I will lose my humanity and become the monster the villagers always wanted me to be. Inoichi was listening intently, noting everything on a piece of paper. He could see the emotional turmoil in Naruto's eyes. It was true that he became one of the youngest demolishers in ANBU, and considering his upbringing, it wasn't the perfect place for him to be. But he was the ultimate weapon to be for the village. He knew it himself. It was too early for that, but they didn't have any other option. Putting him inside a normal cell would only serve as a balance breaker. Listen, Naruto-kun, we all think we are ready to kill when we quit the training. Every time it backfires on us. Most of the veterans have mental problems, that they cope by having strange quirks. You will understand in the future if you meet some of them. You killing these people was the only option we had. You protected the new generation this way. We never grow accustomed to the killing. It becomes a part of us that makes us protect our companions from the fate that we give to others. The ANBU Creed is a testament. We fight to win. We fight from the shadows to protect those that can't protect themselves. Remember that you aren't killing people. You're saving those that would end up hurt. Naruto widened his eyes hearing those words. He never understood what they actually meant. In his juvenile mind, the ANBU killed, deceived, and stole for the village. The real fact was that they protected everyone by doing it. Thank you, Inoichi-san. I think you just gave me a new understanding of what am I doing. Can I come see you, or Ibiki-san, in case I need to talk to anyone? Of course, Naruto-kun. Now let's call Yugao back inside to give her a debrief. He opened the door and asked Yugao to come in. Now I explained to Naruto some things. Please make sure he gets some rest from the missions. I showed him the meaning of your own creed to make sure that he knows why he is sent on those missions. I would advise to bring him to me around once a month. We don't want another Itachi. He spoke with a sad face, remembering the night when the boy killed all of his clan. Understood, Inoichi. I will see to that. I think Dragon will give him at least 2 weeks of leeway. With that, they quit the office, going to the HQ to get their civilian clothes, and finally go home for Naruto, who hasn't been there in almost 6 months. That was the rule for new recruits during their training. You stayed at the design dormitories and slept with the others. Naruto had a bad feeling about it, knowing that probably his apartment would be destroyed like always. He was right. The door was destroyed, the windows broken, and the inside empty with a homeless being inside. Sighing, he went away. No need to get there anymore. He would sleep at the HQ. Yugao didn't have anything of that. She gathered Kurenai and Anko, and the 4 of them went to Naruto's favorite restaurant, Ichiraka Ramen. After the small chit-chat with the chef and his daughter, his ex-senseis started talking. So how is your new life, Naruto-kun? Asked Kurenai, sipping the broth. Rough. I had my first mission yesterday. It only showed me how different the world outside was and how much I wasn't prepared for that. Other than that, someone destroyed my apartment. I will need to sleep at the HQ for the moment, he said with a carefree voice, as if he was talking about the weather. I would take him in, but hey, and I just bought the house, and we're still moving, so there isn't much space with all the cartons, said Yugao. Kurenai couldn't take him in as well. She was living in a small apartment, and there wasn't any place for an extra bed. Anko thought about it for a second. I could take him in. I don't have enough space for the second bed, but my couch can deploy to make an emergency bed. Are you sure, Ankone? I don't want to be a bother, especially since I could go on missions in the night. Don't worry, this happens to all of us. Let's just call a payback for the seal. Thank you, Nachon. I will pitch to the rent, though. They finished their bowls, or 4 for Naruto, and went their ways to their respective houses. Time skipped 2 weeks. 2 weeks had passed since that day. Dragon truly gave him this time off duty. Naruto used this time to train himself. He wasn't able to reach anything other Chunin right now. His age blocked him for the moment, but he polished everything he could in the time until one of the mind gates opened, transferring him the knowledge of one jutsu, the Rasengan. His father had much faith in him to give it so soon to him. It was a great addition for his arsenal. He needed this kind of short-range firepower. While mastering it over the course of 2 weeks, he made progress with a side project of his, the Yang laser. He found a way to concentrate the Yang into a thin beam that had power to punch 4 centimeters wide holes straight through rocks. He found out the hard way that he couldn't do the same with the Yin. It didn't have the force to stay coalesced for a long time, resulting in a blast of Yin that covered everything in it, burning it like napalm. He was thankful that he coated himself in Yang before the Yin hit him. Today he was called back by Dragon for a new mission. He grabbed his gear and put his mask on. Anko was still sleeping, so he left a note on her nightstand that he was gone. He shunned Shin to the office where Dragon has thrown a scroll at him. You are to go to the border with the grass country. Some agents are already there. You will transfer these orders to them and help the apprehend or kill the Nookinins that will try to cross the borders. Dismissed. Run fast. Naruto didn't wait for Dragon to take another breath. He was already running through one of the tunnels under the village that would let him go straight to the mission point. Exiting the tunnel, he took out the bingo book, reading the files of the Nukanins. Mizuki, 27 years old Chunin. Nothing special. Kill on sight because of his uselessness. Next, Amaido Kumi, another Chunin, who felt he wasn't appreciated enough, still nothing special. Some eternal genins. Oh, they're the three bastards that tried to rape Ankone. Now is my chance for revenge. Anko will get them straight into her hands. He ran for the next few hours until he spotted one of the ANBU. Ushi, you are finally here. Where are the orders? Everything is written in this scroll, Torah Taishu. After reading the scroll, Torah showed Naruto the way to the camp. There was a map where X were the possible traversing points for the Nins. He ordered Naruto to make some clones to take watch there. Torah Taishu, I have a request. Let me capture the eternal genins. There'll be a gift for someone. As long as it doesn't compromise the mission, you are free to do it. Thank you, sir. Night has fallen, and one of the clones just popped, signaling Naruto the location of the runners. Signaling to his commandant, they all went out. First appeared to be Mizuki. Naruto never liked the bastard in school. Now he knew why. The other agents wanted to jump in, but Naruto showed the sign to halt. He extended his finger and created a vortex of yang around it. The principle was easy. The science defined that there was chakra in the air around them, and it was considered a fluid. By making the yang spin, it created a fast-moving chakra with lower pressure. The Venturi effect applied to it, making the beam concentrated. He shot his yang laser straight at Mizuki's heart. The effect most instantaneous, the blunt force of the impact, instead of evaporating the flesh, punched a hole in it, making a huge part of his heart fly out. He was dead. The agents ran straight to Amaido Kumi, killing him in an instant. They frowned under their masks when they heard a sizzling sound under his vest. The bastard would try to injure them, even in death. They ran away as fast as they could, but Shika, equals deer, was hit with a shrapnel of wood that went through his leg. Naruto wanted to go straight to the other three targets. He was stopped by the explosion and the feeling that Shika was badly hurt. He created a clone to follow the genins, who ran back into the forest and rushed to his ally. Everybody get away from him. I will heal him. Don't worry, in a few seconds you will be in perfect shape. Taicho, the other targets, are followed by my clone. He put a lingering flame of yang on his finger. Shika was scared, seeing what it has done before. To his astonishment, he didn't feel any pain as the flame urged the wound to close. With a short thank you, he stood up. Naruto ran back to the first mission. Who would have thought that a kid could be a demolisher and a medic at the same time? Murmured Shika, and everybody around nodded. They went back to the corpses of the victims to dispose of them. Naruto joined his clone and quietly took out his wakizashi, pumped yang into his legs, and ran straight at the cowering eternal genins. They couldn't react when the same golden flash appeared between them. Naruto used the Hien no Jutsu at the last moment of the swing to extend his range, cutting all of their Achilles tendons, making them fall. He took the prison scrolls given to him by his squad and sealed them inside. The mission was done. The squad could head back home without any casualties thanks to Naruto. That would earn him some points with the other Black Ops. The road was silent for the most part. Only Shika said a louder thank you to Naruto for the quick help. Once again, they were all in the Dragon office. He was too often in this place. Good job, everyone. I will take the prisoners and heads of the runners to the TNI. Dragon Taishu. Can I give the prisoners to Anko myself? Yes, give the heads to them as well. Dismissed. Naruto ended in the TNI building using the tunnels under the village. It was convenient for them. Instead of going around the buildings, they head straight roads to every important place in the village, such as hospitals and administrative buildings. He has seen Anko lounging on a couch, drinking coffee, and chatting with Ibiki about a new torture she invented. It was deranging to hear them laugh about it. Maybe these were the quirks that Inoichi told him about. He put his mask on his belt and greeted the both. Hello, Ibiki-san, Ankone. I have brought you some gifts, 2 heads to scan, and 3 eternal genins that you know pretty well, Ankane," he said with a mischievous smile, throwing them the scrolls. Anko reciprocated the smile with her own and stood up. "I think I will test what we were talking about earlier than expected," said Anko. Later that day, all they learned was the fact that someone offered them a place in grass country, but they didn't know who. Anko faked the fact that she knew they were telling the truth and played with them for a long time after that. They died the next day. Time skipped 4 years. Naruto's 13 years old if you didn't keep track with the ages. Naruto lounged in his and Anko's house. It wasn't particularly big, but had 3 rooms and 2 bathrooms, which was more than enough for them. After a month of living together, they decided to buy a place for them. Naruto, having the pay of an ANBU, helped greatly in the effort. Speaking of him, he had grown quite a bit. His puberty began around a year ago. Anko still made fun of him, remembering his voice change. He has grown to around 1m65, slightly above average than guys his age. The added testosterone in his body defined his muscles, making his shoulders and biceps visible thanks to his sleeveless shirt. His wardrobe didn't change much since that time. The biggest change was in his hair. He learned on a mission in Land of Earth that his spiky blonde hair made them remember the Yondaime, his dad. So, he had let it grow to a point he could make a short ponytail out of it. He slicked it all to the back this way, didn't catch too much light on stealth missions. His face matured without any baby fat thanks to constant missions and training. His puberty did him another favor. It destroyed the roadblock in his training. His body started to adapt to the skills he needed to learn, opening new mind gates containing advanced moves of his Tai and Kenjutsu, as well as some jutsus, making him able to rival early jounins if he pushed it. He should be around the same level or a bit stronger than Itachi at his age. He could say his life was good at the moment. He didn't have much social life apart from Anko, Kurenai, and Yugao. He was quite protective of all of them, showing it when he scared Asuma, using his cubified eyes if he did something to make Kurenai cry. The same happened to Hate. His career in ANBU evolved when he did the toughest demolition mission in all of his time. It was a way to help the now-appointed 5th Mizukage, Meitarumi, to liberate her people. He did it by destroying 3 keeps that were just before evacuated of prisoners. It was his first mission as the captain. Flashback. He looked at his men and women. They were Nico, Inu, and Tenzo, or Yugao, Kakashi, and Yamato, who didn't even have a real name. He looked on the plans of the keep. It was the last one that housed a big amount of the anti-bloodline faction, as well as many prisoners. "We're going to wait for the night. I will make you a door to evacuate the prisoners when you are ready to go as far away as you can. I want to test a new skill I invented." And wait for the night they did. As soon as Hei entered the hold, they sensed something was amiss. The prisoners were all asleep and no guard was there. They unlocked the cells and started to take out the people inside. As they wanted to exit, they found themselves blocked. All of the ninja that were supposed to be inside waited just outside the wall. It was an ambush. They had to be informed about the other keeps. "Fast, Nico. Inu, take the prisoners outside, and run, I will hold them here. Tenzo, assist me." This wasn't time to question the orders, and they did as told. For the next hour, they transported the people inside, while Naruto and Yamato fought for their lives, with Naruto healing Yamato anytime he was hurt. They seemed to just never end until Kakashi came with good news. "The prisoners are outside," he screamed. "Good, now run. Tenzo, close as many as you can in a dome, and run as fast as you can. I will make them disappear." Tenzo nodded and gathered the most chakra he could without hampering his escape. "Mo-katan, Mokuja Hiki," he screamed, proud of himself, closing all of the assailants in the dome, and ran away as fast as he could. When Naruto sensed them far enough, he launched his new technique. He made holes in the dome with the In and put his hands in them. He created 2 balls, one of In and one with Yang inside. The idea behind was that when both of those would mix, they would produce neutral Bija chakra. In this case, he slammed them together, making the mixing far too fast, resulting in a chain reaction explosion. He screamed, "In Yang Nova!" and let the balls slam into each other as far away from him as he could and taking cover himself. The dome opened on the top and released a beam of light to the sky. He would have to calibrate the power output another day, happy with the result. After which, he coated the keep and aimed to meld it to the ground. Flashback end. That was one of many demolition missions that Naruto took. He remained on the sofa until an ANBU came to his house and told him, "Ushi the Hokage requests your presence." With a sign, Naruto prepared himself for another mission in his mind and Shunshin to appear on his knee before the Hokage. Strangely next to him was Inu in the same position. "Please stand up, Naruto-kun, Kakashi. Take off your masks, as well you won't be needing them for the next mission," said the Hokage. "Please stand up, Naruto-kun, Kakashi. Take off your masks, as well you won't be needing them for the next mission," said the Hokage. They did as told and took off their masks. Hiruzen couldn't believe how his grandchild and all but blood has grown both in size and as a ninja. He could still remember the small kid running around the village. As we all know, here a certain Uchiha Sasuke turned really bad since his brother killed his family. Inoichi and I are sure he shouldn't be let into the ninja program, but the council tries to push him through. "Kakashi, Naruto-kun, this mission entails you to become normal ninja. Kakashi, you're going to be their team sensei. Naruto-kun, you are to pose as a genin. Your team is going to be composed of yourselves, Sasuke and Yamanaka Ino." Getting apprehensive looks from both of them, he continued, "This team is made entirely to keep the Uchiha from doing something stupid. Ino doesn't know it though, but her clan skills will be useful in knowing what happens in the head of the boy. Secondly, her father, Inoichi, wants you, Naruto, to set her straight." Ino was Inoichi's daughter? The sly fox never mentioned it. Oh, well, he helped him so many times that doing him a favor wouldn't hurt. As the Sandaime ended the mission detail and told them the pay of an A rank to both of them every 2 weeks, as well as what they earn on missions, both of them quit the office. "So, Kakashi-sensei, what are you planning to do? You can go full out on missions, but I'm supposed to be a lowly genin. I know that you're going to test us, even if we must succeed anyway, because of the council. Don't worry, just don't put too much of a show. After all, you were an apprentice from the age of 8, right? As for the test, it's the bell test, I told you before. If they don't cooperate, I will give them to you to make it seem like at least you want to work together." Kakashi replied with mirth in his voice. They quit the building and went their ways. Naruto went home and sat next to Anko on the sofa sighing. "What's going on, Naruto-kun? The mission didn't go well." "No, it went perfectly. It's the mission itself. Kakashi and I are to babysit the Uchiha Prince. I'm supposed to work as a genin. A fucking genin when I can destroy strategic points of entire armies myself, earning an S rank in Demolition Division. Now I should barely be able to hold a kunai. At least the pay is good." He ranted, to which Anko patted his head to then put more oil into the fire. "Don't forget about the ranks," she reminded him with a smirk, to which Naruto thought he was going to cry. At least team placements were in a few hours. Naruto made his way to the academy in his normal clothes, leaving the ANBU gear in the HQ in case he was called for emergencies. He put up his cloth mask and went inside the classroom, which was empty for the moment. He may have a painful mission right now, but he would still play with the Uchiha boy. He seemed to forget they were the same age. People began entering the room, noticing the new arriving member, but no one tried to speak to him because of the aura that he exuded that said, "Don't talk to me." The class was finally full, and the teacher came in. At this moment, Sasuke, against his judgment, wanted to show his dominance over the new kid. He was an elite after all. He came to Naruto, who was laughing with Kurama about what was going to happen. Sasuke opened his big mouth and spoke. "What's your name?" "I'm gay," Naruto replied. "I'm gay, fight me." Sasuke didn't catch what he said until it hit him, when everybody was keeping the laughter until everybody burst out and Sasuke went back to his place to stare at the wall. Naruto gave a mental high five to Kurama. Irika composed himself from a scene. This was the supposed guy that would fill one of the teams. He did a speech of proudness and will of fire and began naming the teams. Team 7 will be Sasuke Uchiha, Ino Yamanaka, and what? Uzumaki Naruto. At this moment, Naruto took off his mask, showing his whisker marks, and gave Irika a friendly wave. "Long time no see, sensei. Yes, since you guys missed a member for the teams, I was recalled for my apprenticeship." Ino was ecstatic. Two good-looking guys on her team. She needed to know more about Naruto at this moment. She would question him later, though. Irika continued a bit baffled. "Your sensei will be Hitaki Kakashi. Next, Team 8 will be Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shino Aburame, with Kurenai Yuhi as your teacher. Team 9 still exists. Team 10 will be Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akimichi, and Sakura Haruno, with Asuma Sarutobi as your sensei. That will be all. They will be here to get you in around 15 minutes." The team sat down together, trying to chat, but everyone was too nervous thinking about their future. Soon the teachers started coming in. Kurenai and Asuma came in together, with Kurenai having a glow around her. Naruto waved at them. "Hey Kurenai ne ashumashensei. Naruto-kun." "Naruto," they said in unison. They both knew why he was here. "We would love to talk more to you, but we have our teams to meet. See you later," told Kurenai, giving a goodbye wave. Before she could leave, Ino asked Naruto how he knew them. Kurenai wanted to see what Naruto would tell about her. "Kurenai was my sensei before I was forced to be in the team," he answered. Sasuke wanted to put Naruto down for his earlier stunt and said, "I bet she's as weak as you are," out loud. Asuma wanted to put the kid down, but Naruto beat him to it. He strolled down the aisle until he was in front of Sasuke, and then bitch slapped him across the face. "That's your first education lesson. Do not speak down to your superiors," he calmly said, and went to Kurenai and Asuma to apologize about his teammate. When they left, he went back to his seat. The Hokage made him babysit the brat, so he did. The class soon emptied, leaving only the team 7 waiting in the room. Sasuke still had the hand imprint on his face and seethed because he couldn't do anything about it, because there were 2 jonins to incriminate him. Ino started losing her calm in this atmosphere and went to Naruto to get some info about him. "So, Naruto, what have you been doing out of the academy?" He couldn't say the truth, but could offer some insight to not appear rude to the girl. She was Inoichi's daughter after all. "I trained under Kurenai and 2 of her friends sometime. I became a shinobi a bit before you, and I've been on some missions. Our teacher won't be coming for at least 2 hours. I'm going out. If he comes earlier, tell him that I will be at the usual spot." Before he could leave, Ino grabbed his arm and asked if she could come with him. He didn't see any problem with it. Sasuke would stay anyway if Kakashi comes back earlier. They went to Naruto's house. Opening the door, he saw Anko's boots, so he screamed, "Ankone, I'm home with a teammate, so in case you're once again in your underwear, put at least the bathrobe." This made Ino blush a bit. It was the first time she was in a boy's house. "Naruto, just give me a minute, I'm in the bathroom." They heard Anko reply, and a moment later, she came down in a bathrobe with still wet hair. "My Naruto-kun has brought a girl home already. You grow up so fast." Shima cried and wiped a tear. "Not funny, Ankane. She really is just a teammate. After all, we met for the first time in about 5 years. Kakashi-sensei is late, as usual, so I came in to grab a bite." This made Ino sadden a bit. She wasn't even a friend for the moment. Well, she could only blame herself because she never talked to him. They went to the kitchen, and Naruto asked Ino if she wanted something to eat. She didn't because she was on a diet. He sighed. He would have to beat it out of her soon, but it could wait for now. While he was cooking some simple fried chicken, Anko took out a cold beer out of the fridge. They seemed so comfortable around each other from Ino's point of view. She started asking her questions. "You called Kurenai-sensei, Kurenai-ne before, and now Anko-san. Anko-ne. Are you all related?" "It's Anko or Anko-chan, brat. I'm too young to become a san. And no, we're not related. We are all really close friends to the point where Naruto became our family in all but blood. That's why we live together," Anko answered. "It's Ino, not brat." "Yeah, I know you're Inoichi's daughter. For now, you are still a brat to me, kiddo. Until you prove to me that you are a real kunoichi." She took another sip of beer. That meant that Naruto has already proven himself to her. The afternoon went calmly with Ino and Naruto chatting and bonding over some tea. It was time to go back to the academy. Naruto didn't feel like running, so he grabbed Ino's hand and shunshined them both in front of the class. Sasuke was still in the same position as when they left. It had to be some record for staying still for so long. Did he even blink? They weren't sure. 5 minutes later, a silver-haired man came inside. "You are my kids now. Meet me at the roof. Kakashi would pay for that." Naruto took Ino's hand and shunshined once again them both to the roof, leaving a baffled Sasuke seeing the supposed weak link of the team using it. He lifted his butt from the seat and went to the stairs himself. When he arrived, his team was casually chatting, waiting for his arrival. He positioned himself on the stairs and assumed his preferred position. "Now, my cute little genin, why don't you introduce yourselves?" Kakashi said with a visible mirth at the word genin, to which Naruto gained a tick mark on his forehead. "You first, Mr. Stay Still." "My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I don't have many likes and have a lot of dislikes. I have an ambition to kill someone and restore my clan." He was really good at keeping still. He said it all without his body moving a millimeter. "You forgot to tell that you were gay, as you so proudly said this morning," Naruto said with a snicker. He didn't have to antagonize him that much, but the Hokage forced him into this mission, and he was going to take all possibilities to have fun. "Now you blondie," Kakashi continued. "Which one?" Naruto and Ino asked. "The platinum one." "Ahem. My name is Ino Yamanaka. I like my family, fashion, gardening, and I think Naruto here will be a good friend. I dislike Sakura and perverts. My dream is to make my father proud of me," she said, smiling at Naruto. He gave her a good first impression. "The sunny one for the last. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like training, ramen, my Nachan's, ramen, one of my teammates, ramen. I dislike perverts, people that don't strive to better themselves, people who don't understand Fuinjutsu, and one late dog." He said the last part with the same mirth that Kakashi used for the word genins before. "Oh, is my Naruto warming up to girl his age finally?" Kurama teased her host internally, to which Naruto just growled mentally. "Why don't you introduce yourself, sensei?" Naruto said. Ino was starting to feel some tension between her teacher and the fellow blonde, even if she didn't understand why. "I will try. I am Hitaki Kakashi. I have a few dislikes, and you are too young to learn about my likes and dreams." They didn't learn anything. Or at least Sasuke and Ino didn't, since Naruto worked with him many times. "That's all for today. Meet me at 7 a.m. at Training Ground 7. I advise you to not eat before, or you're going to puke," Kakashi said, and shunshin somewhere. "Waking up so early isn't good for my skin, though not eating shouldn't be a problem, since I never do in the morning for my diet," said Ino to her teammates. Naruto couldn't listen to it anymore. The girl would kill herself if she continued like that. "Ino, we need to have a serious talk about what you just said. Come with me, I will show you what I mean." No isn't a possible answer. Ino was puzzled at the change of her blonde brethren, but she followed him anyway. They ended up in a bar only for the shinobi. That way, if anything happened while drunk, the civilians weren't hurt. Inside, they found out Kurenai, Yugao, Anko, Asuma, and Hate chatting and sipping alcohol. They have seen each other, and before Ino knew, she was already talking with some jonins. How did Naruto know all of them? "So, Naruto, what do you want to talk about before?" she asked. "Ankane, Kurenai, Yugao, can you stand up for me for a second?" I didn't see why, but they did anyway. Ino looked closely and tell me, do you think that they would be what guys would call hot? This made Ino blush, and all of the adults looked critically at Naruto. "Does our Naruto-kun feel attracted to his sisters?" asked Yugao, looking at him. Asuma and Hate looked at him, wanting to know, as well, if he had a sister complex. Truly, they wouldn't even be surprised by it. "No, the only attraction I feel to the three of you is the gravity every body with mass produces." He shot her down, making everyone else chuckle. "Now, Ino, answer my question. You are kidding, right? They are gorgeous. I want to look like them." "Nachans, how much do you eat daily?" "At least 7,000 calories, 10,000 if on a mission day. Around 9,000. Around 9,000 as well." Ino's eyes widened listening at these numbers. These were the numbers a bodybuilder wouldn't even eat. yet these three sexy-looking ladies ate that. You see, our chakra production and training make us burn calories at a very high rate. A civilian would become obese with our type of diets. Your diet is the contrary to our own. You eat so few calories that your puberty will be stunted, and instead of growing like my Nachans, you will become flat as a board, or if you drop your intake, you will simply die. And you don't want to feel that, I assure you. He said the last part so quietly that it was barely audible. Ino was asking herself what he meant by that. She looked at the jonins around her and did something she never thought she would. She went to the bar and asked for the biggest burger they served. She struggled, but ate all of it, taking to heart what was said. "Good job, kiddo. You just got yourself one step out of being a brat," said Anko. A praise of a jonin felt so good to her ears. To give you a hint, the next step would be to start training to make yourself an example for other kunoichi. See, everybody wants to help you here. Take their advice and make yourself better one step at a time. At last, most of the kunoichi are already at least pretty, and you have what it takes in face department. Since Ankone is drinking, I guess that she won't be up tomorrow until noon. I will come to your house at 8 a.m. and make you a nutritious breakfast because I bet you don't know what to eat now. Don't worry, Kakashi-sensei is always late. At least 2 hours we will have the time. Naruto said, oblivious to the looks of the adults were giving him. "Thank you, Naruto-kun," she answered, adding kun to Naruto's name before they realized the looks they were given. "Our Naruto-chan doesn't like his sisters because we aren't blondes. I would hurry up. Anko-chan or Naruto-chan will find a special someone before you," said Kurinai. The trio could only blush at the laughs that were directed at them. "We should go, Ino. The bar will change to full drinking mode, and we aren't old enough to stay. Goodbye, everyone. I will come fetch Anko at 1 a.m. like always," making Anko blush even harder. Who was the real adult in their house? Naruto brought Ino home, where her father mouthed a thank you to Naruto, seeing her daughter so happy. He was even more thankful when she asked for extra training, even if it would break her. She had long arrears in her career. Like Naruto said, he went to the bar at 1 a.m. to fetch for Anko, who had drunk a bit too much. He shunshined them to the house, taking off her clothes and putting her to bed. He went his own ready for tomorrow, since he knew what Kakashi planned. Next morning, Naruto knocked on the Yamanaka's house door. The one to open was Inoichi, who did take Naruto aside for the moment. "Why are here so early, Naruto-kun? And what did you do to my daughter? She asked for a big meal and training yesterday." "It's simple. I brought her to talk with Nachans, who showed her the real meaning of being a kunoichi. And for my presence, Kakashi will give us the bell test, and I know that she doesn't know how to make a proper breakfast. I proposed to make her one yesterday, and she agreed." "Thank you. You don't know what it means to me to see my princess to take her career seriously. Now, come in, she's already waiting." Naruto came inside and have seen Ino checking her gear for the day. She didn't wear any makeup, and Naruto had to say that she was much prettier without it. He went to the kitchen after saying hello to Ino. 15 minutes later, she was served eggs and bacon. When she finished, he took out a cake full of slow carbs, yet equally as delicious as a normal one. "I will make you a breakfast every day now until you learn what to eat to have plenty of energy. I will tell you if you will have to come to my house or I will come to yours. Don't worry about it." Inoichi was looking from behind a corner at the scene. He couldn't be happier for the moment, seeing Naruto do the favor he asked and more. "We should get going. Kakashi-sensei will probably arrive in about 20 minutes. Remember, we will probably need to work as a team. If Sasuke disagrees, just work with me," he told her, having a feeling that he forgot about something. When they arrived at the training ground, he remembered what he forgot. Sasuke was sitting under a tree, his face a bit green and bags under his eyes. That was it. He forgot to tell him about the meeting real time and to eat. Doesn't matter anyway. He chatted with Ino about what she could do to improve. He didn't care why she wanted to do it if she did. Kakashi finally graced them with their presence, seeing that Naruto and Ino were lively and not hungry at all. On the contrary, Sasuke was sitting under the tree, looking as if he was going to die any moment. Maybe it would force him to work with the team. If not, they always had a backup plans. Kakashi, I smiled at his students and walked near them. We're going to have a test today, the real Genin test. What you had at the academy was just an exam to see if you have more than 3 brain cells. You'll have to get those 2 bells off me before noon. The person that doesn't get them will be sent back to academy. Now, 3, 2, 1, go. As soon as he said it, Naruto grabbed Ino and ran to hide. Sasuke, though, stayed in the field, looking at Kakashi straight in the eyes. Now, Sasuke, you should have done the same that your teammates did. You have more chance if you ambushed me. After all, you are only a genin, Kakashi said while opening his orange book. Sasuke thought he was the one being taunted, but the real victim was Naruto, who promised death in great suffering to Kakashi. I don't need an ambush. I am an elite of the shinobi, Sasuke proudly said. Kakashi could only curse the council for giving the boy such a megalomaniac view on life. You see, Sasuke, just by staying here, proves you are not an elite, as you like to call yourself. A real elite would look for any opening like Naruto did when he ran before I said go and brought his teammate, doubling their chances of survival. Sasuke see that it being put down and rushed at Kakashi at an impressive for a genin speed. But compared to his brother or the powerhouse he had on the team, it was nothing. He just had to keep his eye off the book to not take a single hit. Meanwhile, Naruto and Ino observed the situation. Naruto was cursing Kakashi in his mind, and Kurama was having a giggling fit at his expense. This idiot is going to kill us all. Wait, no, if it plays right, we can salvage this situation. Ino, will you work with me? If I get a bell, I will give it to you and go back to apprenticeship. He lied to her, but this was the protocol. She nodded. He already helped her so much she would give the favor back. That's what we were going to do. He explained her the plan he had made according to what Kakashi was doing. Soon enough, the occasion arose. Kakashi bound Sasuke to a tree after having enough of this useless battle. He went back to a rock to sit down and enjoy his fine literature. As soon as he sat down, a smoke bomb went off, as well as kunai sailed to him. He caught it with ease, but the sizzling sound at its bottom unnerved him. The exploding tags were just about to explode. He did a swift kawarimi. Naruto really wanted to kill him for the taunts before. He was glad that Naruto couldn't go full bananas on his ass with the onlookers. He looked around to see Ino cutting Sasuke free. He wanted to throw a kunai at her, but something stopped him. I won't let you futon. Daitapa. He pushed Kakashi back, making a smoke screen out of the dust. He jumped straight in with 2 kunais. Kakashi, we have a problem. If Sasuke agrees to our plan, I feel he's going to try to incinerate us both with his Katon Jutsu. If he does that, you won't be able to make a lie good enough to make us pass for the teamwork, Naruto said while striking the kunais in his hands. It was a stupid and effective method to simulate the sound of battle. I had a plan for that. Just be sure to remember the 3rd law of the AMBU code. The life of your friends is more valuable than your own, they both said. Okay, Kakashi, now kick me out of here and do what you have to do. Fast before the dust falls. Naruto flew out of the plume of dust, making his fall even more dramatic to accentuate the strength difference. If he ever wanted to quit being ninja, he would become an actor for sure. He sensed what happened. Kakashi came out of the woods with an unconscious Sasuke and a wiggling Ino. These games tire me. I will give you a chance, you or her. If you don't kill yourself, I will kill Ino and then seal Sasuke's chakra for good. At least he will make a good breeding stock. Kakashi making a Chidori to show his point. Naruto didn't hesitate. He took one of his kunai and plunged it in his abdomen. He was sure that Kakashi would stop him millimeters away, but no, this bastard let him stab himself. He was going to fuck his life up so much that even his mother wouldn't recognize him. Ino was too shocked of what has just happened. Her new friend has just killed himself to protect her. She felt so weak seeing Naruto fall to the ground. She wiggled herself free and ran to him. Kakashi-sensei, why? Please help him. She cried, but before she could finish, Naruto was already taken by Kakashi to the hospital. Come with Sasuke to the hospital in a few hours. I will give you a response for that. Meanwhile, Naruto has just closed his wound with the yang and whispered to Kakashi, I will hurt you so bad, you bastard. I will ask Ankone to lend me her torture tools. I would sleep with one eye open from now on, if I were you. Kakashi gulped, knowing that Naruto was capable of doing it. Maybe he really pushed it too far? A few hours later, Ino came to the hospital with Sasuke. She had almost begged him to come, but finally he relented. Her eyes were red and puffy, seeing time, and again the scene of Naruto plunging a kunai into his stomach to save her. She came inside Naruto's room, who had useless bandage over his non-existing wound. Kakashi was on his bedside, reading his orange book. Ino, seeing this, seethed in anger, not understanding how their teacher could be so insane and insensitive. Little did she know that she was in the presence of two insane ANBUs. Naruto-kun, are you alright? How are you feeling? I'm so sorry for being so weak, she rushed him. Naruto felt bad for making her this worried, but he didn't have a choice that time. Yeah, I'm alright, Ino. I missed any vital organs on purpose. They only had to stitch me up a bit. Don't worry about being weak. Nobody begins strong. The fact that you see that you need more training is a proof of your strength already, he said with a smile, which lifted her spirits. Now, Kakashi-sensei, why did you let Naruto stab himself? And now you are here like nothing happened? She screamed at Kakashi. That's because Naruto found out the true meaning of the test. It was about teamwork. You listened to him, but Sasuke didn't even want to hear any explication, right? She nodded her head. It was as he always knew what they were doing in the forest. You see, Naruto became a shinobi before you and already went on some missions outside the village. He understands what the will of fire means. He didn't hesitate one moment to sacrifice himself for his teammates, and I needed you to see in the first place. My late friend once told me, the one who breaks rules are scum, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than scum. Naruto did exactly that. He preferred to forego the rules of mission completion for your sake. Learn from his experience and get your understanding of the will of fire. He let them ponder that for a bit. Ino seemed to understand what Naruto has done. As for Sasuke, he thought that Naruto should sacrifice his lowly life for himself. Now that this explanation is done, because of Naruto you all pass. Meet me tomorrow at noon to let Naruto heal his wounds, Kakashi said, and quit the building through the door to get the newest Aika. The truth was Kakashi would sleep now in case Naruto exacted his vengeance. Sasuke followed his suit. Naruto-kun, are you sure you are alright? You stabbed yourself pretty deep. Don't worry, Ino. I heal very fast, and with the help of Medic Nin, I will be up by tomorrow. Now get something to eat and train. If you need some help, you can come back or ask Ankone if she's home. He told her, shooing her out. It wouldn't be good for her to lose the motivation she got just before. She went out, and Naruto planned his vendetta against Kakashi. If he had to be serious, the plan was already in action. Time skip 1 week. Naruto came with Ino to the training ground, chatting as usual about how she had gotten better with her father's help. Soon Kakashi came in as well. He looked really bad. His face was green and had huge bags under his eyes. This was Naruto's plan. He wouldn't hurt Kakashi directly. Every night, he would send a clone to Kakashi's house. The clone would hit the wall, open the lock or the window, making Kakashi always on the edge, to the point that he wouldn't sleep for 3 days now, too scared of his student. Hello, Kakashi-sensei. Slept well? Naruto asked, making sure to mock Kakashi for his sleep deprivation. Kakashi could only growl. He knew it was Naruto all the time, but he could never catch the culprit. He asked himself what would come first. Naruto would stop, or he would go insane. Naruto wasn't sure either. Other than that, Sasuke didn't want to acknowledge his teammates, even if in spars he would get his ass handed to him by Naruto, who kept his level just above his. The experience was the key here. Naruto played dirty while Sasuke thought he was too good to do that. Naruto made sure that Kakashi trained them properly, especially Ino, since she needed it the most. Else he would either spar with her from time to time or cook for her in the mornings. He finally made a friend his age. Even if Anko and Kurama teased him about her, he didn't have this type of feelings for her. His sisters only made bets for the amount of time he would need to develop them. They began their training in the morning with some simple chakra control and light spars. Then there was the power and cardio. Ino was thankful to Naruto for making her eat right, or he would be dead by now. Checking herself out, he was right, she didn't get fat, or even bulky. Just her bones weren't sticking out like before. The training ended and their missions would begin. They all hated the D ranks, but at least it gave them some pocket cash for just a few hours of labor. Right now, they were picking out weed from a field when suddenly Naruto found a hatch. Thinking back, he knew where they were. It was one of Orochimaru's lairs. Naruto ran fast to Kakashi, making a clone so nobody enters it. Why has Hokage still not cleared all of them in case a civilian went inside? Kakashi sprinted to the Hokage with the news. Hokage-sama, urgent problem on my mission. Hiruzen would make a joke out of it, but seeing the serious eye of Kakashi, he restrained himself. What is it, Kakashi? Check the map of the Orochimaru's labs and our mission position. Kakashi said, and Hokage's eyes became large as saucers. This lair was scheduled to be dismantled in a month, yet they approved of a mission there. Kakashi, return you team immediately. Make Naruto, sets a perimeter. Yinbi will come to clear things out. You could tell your team about it. Now go fast. Kakashi shunshin to his team as fast as he could. Everyone gather here. Naruto, make a perimeter around the hatch with the clones. Now everybody listen and don't repeat anything to anybody. The place we are in is one of the greatest traders' lab, Orochimaru's lab. He did unspeakable experiments down there to obtain great power. I'm telling you about it, because the Hokage thinks you need to understand the dark side of the shinobi world. Kakashi said. Ino was shocked. If even Kakashi-sensei didn't want to go down there, it had to be something horrible. In Sasuke's head, a dark thought arose. If this Orochimaru had this power, maybe he could help him kill his brother. Kakashi-sensei, I have a question. It was Naruto who found the hatch. How do you know about it? Asked Ino. She has just proved that the Hokage was right to put her on this team. Maybe she wasn't strong enough yet, but her psychology and mind were sound. That's because I was the one to give the Hokage the intel about their locations. When I was little, I found the cleanest of them that served him as the library, and I used it as my hideout. I needed cash one time, so I traded the information for it with Ji-chan. Naruto, answer the question. There is only one question. Why would Naruto need a hideout? She didn't want to ask about it yet. Maybe her parents would give her some insight. Later that day, Ino came back from her team meeting. Her father was already waiting for her, thinking she would want to train. Instead, she just sat down on the sofa, gathering her thoughts to ask the questions about her favorite sunny blonde. Didn't matter, he was the only one in the village. Tu-chan, can I ask you something? Of course, dear. Naruto told us today that when he was little, he had a refuge in one of Orochimaru's labs since he was little. Why would he need it? This question made Inoichi frown. It wasn't his story to tell, but he would give her some hints about it. Ino-chan, how does Naruto travel throughout the village? He always uses the shunshin. I rarely have seen him take a walk. But what's so strange about it, most of the ninja do the same. Yes, most of the veterans went in a hurry, else they would just use their legs like normal people. You see, Naruto isn't the most liked person in the village. Some things happened when he was little, and he found himself in need of a place where he could remain hidden. I can't tell you anything more. It's not my story to tell. Maybe one day he will open up to you. This only presented more questions. What did Naruto do for the village to hate him? What really happened to him? She couldn't ask anyway because they weren't friends for that long. Time skipped 1 month. They have just caught Tora the demon, the beast that scared every shinobi worse than the Kyuubi herself. Looking at it, Ino could see why. Sasuke was just badly scratched on his face and have thrown the cat to Naruto. Naruto forced it into submission with his killing intent. Ino was almost sure she has seen his eyes change color for a moment. Speaking about Ino and Sasuke, their relationship lessened to a point below zero. In the academy, she thought he was cool and fought with Sakura for his heart. But now having him as a teammate showed her how much different he was. He was a megalomaniac who didn't acknowledge anyone, not even their sensei. This view is only enforced by interacting with the cheerful Naruto. They were going to the Hokage to give back the cat and get their last mission for today. Naruto was holding the cat and was petting it while it was still scared of him. He has seen Ino's gloomy face looking at him. He poked her in the ribs, making her gasp, and she poked him back. He would always do it when she had this gloomy face. It all started when she asked her father about Naruto. She wanted to find out anything and strolled, asking people around what they thought about him. She remembered every answer as they were mostly one-worded. Monster. Disgusting. Freak. Why is he still alive? Now, Ino understood why he never walked in the village. She wouldn't be able to take it. What has made them hate him that much? She would ask him one day. They continued the poking until they arrived before the Hokage. Kakashi said that the mission was accomplished, and they wanted another one until Sasuke barged in. Hokage-sama, I want something else. An Uchiha shouldn't have to do these menial tasks. I want to prove myself. I want a real mission. Hiruzen, unlike the council, didn't sugarcoat everything with the boy. He blasted his Ki and said, Jin and Uchiha, are you giving orders to me? No, Hokage-sama, answered Sasuke, thankful that his bladder was empty, or else he would have a stain on his pants right now. Kakashi, do you think your team is ready for a C rank? Don't worry, Hokage-sama. I think they are ready, and we can handle it, he said, showing Naruto with his eye. Hiruzen understood what he meant by that. Having two EMBU captains on the team would make sure that the others lived. Bring Tazuna in. Inside came an old man reeking of booze and pure stink. I asked you for ninjas, not some kids and a one-eyed scarecrow. Especially this one who looks as if he's going to piss himself. Sasuke gained a tick mark. Kakashi and Naruto just sighed at the man as Ino glared at him. Ma. The kids here are plenty strong for C rank. At worst, I'm a Jonin, so I will protect you, Naruto as well, so no problem, he added in his head. Your mission will begin in 3 days. Kakashi, Naruto, stay for the moment, please. Sasuke wanted to stay as well, but his instincts told him not to. So how is it going with Sasuke? He asked. He shouldn't be a ninja, if you ask me. He will kill himself or his teammates on the field if this continues, said Naruto, and Hiruzen sighed, knowing that he couldn't do much without the council trying something. He was too old for this shit. What about you, other blonde? Thanks to Naruto, she started eating and training as a true kunoichi. We train her both even if Naruto just spars with her and gives her pointers. She will become a good one if she continues that way, said Kakashi. Good. Now to the serious matter. Our ENBU gave us intel about the true reason of this mission. It's not a C rank, but should be considered an A rank. The truth is that Gato is ruling the country and hired some Nookanins to kill the builder, as well as building a fortress on a strategic point of the land. Ushi, he knew you were to go to Wave Country. It's an A rank. You're going to destroy it and gather intel on Gato. We can't have him dead right now. You will kill him on your mission with Team 7. Dismissed. Evening. Naruto and Kakashi made some clones to pose as themselves to not attract any suspicions from the team. Right now, they were just crossing the border to the land of Wave in the direction of the fortress. They remembered their mission in Mizu, but this time, this was a simple one. There were only bandits instead of seasoned ninjas. Naruto didn't want to waste time and took out the big artillery. Making Kakashi throw him into the air, he did a mass of clones. They charged Een in their fingers and shot lasers of Een at the castle, screaming Een bombardment. It was 6 months ago that Naruto found a way to keep the Een laser type of attack coalesced. He did it by making the weak point in the front, thus when it hit, it made explosions of Een at the target. Naruto landed in the now melting castle, seeing all the goons dead all around, either from the explosions or the burning effect of this attack. He still felt kind of bad seeing what he could do with human lives, but he remembered his first talk with Inoichi. Ushi, that was under 15 seconds. I think you have just beaten your last record. Now, let's hurry, we don't have much time before our team goes on the mission. They sprinted towards Gato's villa. It was Kakashi's time to shine, since he was in the Assassination and Information Department of AMBU. He positioned himself in the ceiling of Gato's office and started the recording. Soon Gato entered inside with Zabuza and a hunter Nin. Are you sure your subordinates will do the job? Probably, If not, I will welcome them myself," he said with a chuckle and quit the room. This idiot is so gullible. If he doesn't kill them the first time, I will send my army to kill him or the bridge builder escorts. That should be enough. Time to go back to the team and send the transcript to Hokage-sama. Naruto and Kakashi changed back into their normal clothes because they spent here too much time. They would meet their team on the road. They ran back in Konoha's direction until they spotted their team with their clones. Their clones sensed them as well as the shinobi waiting for them inside the puddle on the road. It was a perfect opportunity for them to switch, as well as see their team reactions. Soon 2 ninjas came out of the puddle and killed the clones who popped. Ino has changed from her academy time. She thought they used Kawarimi to evade the chains. She took out, threw kunais at them, but they evaded them. She took one another, taking a proper stance to defend herself and the client. Sasuke was trying to show off by running straight at them, but before he could, the ninja were already dead. Naruto and Kakashi jumped from the tree, catching the weapons Ino has thrown. Naruto planted his in one of their spines and turned it, killing him in an instant. Kakashi kicked the other one and put him on the ground. Next, he took the kunai and pinned his hands to the ground with it. Good job, Ino. You realized we used Kawarimi and didn't hesitate to attack while still defending the client. You, Sasuke, should have done the same. You didn't know what they could do. Remember, the patient ninja is the living ninja. Kakashi lied, to which Ino smiled, and Sasuke replied with a huff. How is he supposed to prove himself to be an elite? Now let's ask our prisoner a few questions. Why are you targeting our group? You know fully well that we can do it the hard or the soft way. Your choice. Meizu looked at his dead brother and gulped. The kid killed him without a moment of thinking. He would probably share the same fate. At least he could do it without any pain. We were hired by Gato to kill the bridge builder. He's a thorn in his side and wants to eliminate him. Please grant me a swift death. Meizu said. Kakashi already knew that from before, but he needed a way to expose Tazuna before it could kill his team. He complied with the request, shoving a Chidori in his chest. Ino was shocked seeing that, but steeled her nerves. Naruto told her many times how the outside world worked. Now, Tazuna care to tell us why you only asked for a C rank? Kakashi asked, with Tazuna presenting him the situation of the country and how poor they were. Kakashi was sure they could follow the mission. At worst, Naruto would have to show his real powers. You know, you could have talked with the Hokage about the situation. It's on the back of the form you were supposed to deliver that in this type of circumstances you can ask for delayed or some other form of payment, said Naruto. Naruto, who would you take as a backup in this case, if you could take anyone in the village? Naruto thought for a second and replied. Seeing that they were the demon brothers working with Zabuza, our safest bet would be Yugaone, but she's on a mission. From the Genin teams, I would say Asuma-sensei and Team 10. They offer a good firepower with Choji and tactic mind with Shikamaru, and of course a close-quarters fighter in Asuma-sensei. He said, forgetting completely about Sakura. Well, she could be a meat shield. Team 10 it is then. Naruto, make a clone to inform the Hokage. Let's continue for now. Naruto made a clone that sprinted. When it was far enough, it coated itself in yang, making it sprint at astounding speeds. Later that same day, the team crossed the land of Waves border with someone on a boat with the engine turned off. The navigator told them to hurry with the bridge, or else they would all die of hunger, making Naruto have a flashback to his youth. Around 3 kilometers off the coast, Naruto felt the next opponents watching them. It had to be Zabuza. Soon a massive blade flew through the air, almost decapitating everyone if they haven't hit the ground, with Kakashi taking Tazuna. The bridge builder hired some brats to escort him. Not a smart choice, old man. Those snoot-nosed kids won't save you. He looked at the team, seeing Kakashi and then Naruto. The copycat is here, though I sense that the blonde kid is different. He reeks of death. How many have you killed? 100? 1,000? More? Zabuza asked, making the team widen their eyes. Naruto was supposed to be a genin for only a bit more than them. How could he have killed so many already? Team Manji formation around Tazuna. I will fight Zabuza. Naruto, if something bad happens, you are in command. Seeing his true genins get pale, he told them "Don't worry, I will protect you," and lifted his headband, showing his Sharingan. "I get to see it from the start. I'm honored. But how are you going to protect them if you can't see?" Kirigakure no Jutsu. Naruto, seeing the mist getting denser, concentrated on his negative emotion sensing. So many places to strike and kill: liver, lungs, spine, subclavian vein, neck vein, brain, kidneys, and heart. "What will it be?" said a voice appearing to be everywhere. "Kakashi-sensei at 9, huh?" screamed Naruto, using his sensing ability to guide Kakashi. Truthfully, he would be much better opponent for Zabuza. Kakashi blocked the strike and answered with his own, proving that he just hit a water clone. This game continued for a few minutes until Zabuza gave up on this plan. He needed to eliminate Naruto if he wanted to have a chance to kill Kakashi. Zabuza used his superior speed to kick Sasuke out of the way, preparing to strike Naruto. The only thing that saved him were his sensory abilities. He let Sasuke get kicked out of the way to block Zabuza's sword with his own. That shit was heavy, especially since he couldn't use Yang. Kakashi wanted to help Naruto before his hand was forced. Because of that, he ran straight to him until he knew he fucked up entering a body of water. The real Zabuza was waiting for this moment of hesitation and closed Kakashi in Suiro no Jutsu. Naruto killed the offending clone and used Futon Daitapa to disperse the mist. Seeing Kakashi closed in the ball of water, he thought it was too late. He would have to show off his true skills if a miracle didn't happen in the next few seconds. It happened when two kunais flew through the air in the direction of Zabuza. The backup was here. Asuma, Choji, and Shikamaru were here. Sakura came in 10 seconds later, completely winded. "Guys, wait for me," she screamed. Naruto managed to make a plan on his feet, considering the new arrivals. "Asuma-sensei, I will need your help. I have a plan to liberate Kakashi-sensei, but I need your team to help me." Asuma nodded, believing in Naruto's quick thinking. "Shikamaru, Choji, Ino, eliminate the clones blocking the path. Asuma-sensei, assist me." They all nodded and did their part. Shikamaru bound them with Kagemain no Jutsu. Then Choji charged in with his Nikuden Sunsha. At last, Ino threw kunais at the clones at the perfect moment to force them to block them, not giving them time to block Choji. Naruto was really happy about the progress of his fellow blonde. They cleared the path, and Naruto and Asuma ran behind Choji with their weapons drawn. Every step, Naruto used a small amount of Yang to make explosions under his feet, gaining more and more speed at last. He used a bigger amount to jump over Choji straight at Zabuza. He used an overhead slash that Zabuza blocked. This gave an opening for Asuma to slash Zabuza's side, who had to cancel the jutsu in pain. Naruto landed on the water, sprinting even faster, showing some of his skills. He wanted to finish Zabuza, but he was down by Senbon's just before his slash. The Hunter Nin from before came next to Zabuza. "Thank you for helping me catch him, Konoha's ninja. I will take the body to dispose of it," he said and shunshined. Naruto took Kakashi on his back, who had a chakra exhaustion from his overuse of Sharingan, and went back to the group. "Thanks, guys. Without you, we would have been dead," he said. Asuma knew it wasn't true, but he couldn't say it. He has seen that Sasuke was just getting up from the kick Zabuza gave him before. Sakura sprinted to him. "Wow, Sasuke, you were so cool freeing your sensei from that ninja," she screamed. He didn't understand, but it didn't stop him from accepting the praise. Everyone else was looking at her with strange looks. "Is she hallucinating from exhaustion? Did you make her run too fast?" "You didn't do anything in the fight," asked Ino. A few seconds later, Sakura collapsed on the ground. "Yes, she was probably hallucinating," answered everyone else. "Tazuna, how far away to your house? We have one down sensei and a ballast to put in bed," asked Asuma, making everyone snicker, knowing who the dead weight was. "It's about 20 kilometers. We should be there in a few hours." "We don't have enough time." Naruto, make a clone to carry Tazuna. "Sasuke, you take Sakura. We're going to run." Sasuke wanted to protest, but remembered what happened the last time he spoke down to his superior in rank. 20 minutes later, they were at a small house. Tazuna got off Naruto, still shaking from the roller coaster of his life, and knocked on the door. A woman around 30 years old opened the door, holding a knife and case. "Tusen, you are back safe. Are those the ninjas who protected you?" "Yes, you should have seen how the blonde and his sensei worked together." After that, he took control of the situation. "Most of these kids are hella strong," he said, looking at everybody without Sasuke and Sakura. Next, he did some swooshing blade sounds reminiscing the battle, making everybody sweat drop at the childishness of the old man. "Now, we need a bed. The gray-haired one needs some rest as well as the other one." "Thank you, everyone. Now, please come in, she rushed them inside. "Thank you, everyone. Now, please come in, she rushed them inside." "Miss?" asked Asuma. "Tsunami," she answered cheerfully. "Tsunami-san, where can we put those two? And why were you holding a knife when we came here?" "You could put them upstairs, there are beds there." Naruto went to set Kakashi there, and Sasuke didn't have enough patience, so he just dropped unceremoniously his baggage on the floor. "As for the knife, you see, since Gato occupied the land, he would send his thugs to extort us and kidnap the women and children. It was for protection, just in case." "I see," Asuma said, trying to light a cigarette. Before he knew, it was already cut and on the floor. "If you want to smoke, please go outside," Tsunami said. Meanwhile, Naruto has just put Kakashi in bed. "Kakashi, Zabuza will come back. I couldn't react with everyone watching, but that was the Hunter Nin you saw before." "Tough luck. Call Asuma, we have to talk about it." Naruto did as told and brought Asuma to the room. "Asuma, you know who we are. Before this mission, we were sent here to get some intel on Gato. Zabuza isn't dead. The Hunter Nin was his accomplice. We need to find a way to prepare for his comeback. We should train the teams before he comes back." "I will stop you here, Asuma. We may have a way to evade all of the fighting against him. We have the recording of Gato saying that he won't pay Zabuza. We may talk him out of it. Train the Genins, though. He plans on sending his army against us. If it was only us, it would be easy with Naruto, but since the others are here, he can at most use 10% of his abilities before it would raise suspicion," said Kakashi, and Naruto nodded true to it. "Naruto, are you going to talk to Zabuza since you had your clone follow them?" asked Asuma. So he has seen that in all this chaos, he wasn't a Jonin and won the Fire Guardians for nothing. "Yes, I will leave right now. Just let me change in my ANBU gear." Naruto did a clone and started changing. When he was ready, he shunshined away. "It always amazes me how this kid can go from the cheerful Genin to ANBU in seconds," commented Kakashi. Naruto has just entered the cave where Zabuza and the Hunter Nin lived. Gato just left with a broken arm. He dropped to the ground and pushed the door. The Hunter Nin wanted to attack him, but Naruto blocked the fist. "Calm down, please. I'm here to talk to you, Master." Naruto turned to see Zabuza, but I think you should see that first. Naruto showed him the recording from a room with Gato wanting to double-cross him. "What do you want me to do?" "Simple. Go back to Kiri, since they finally ended the rebellion and a new Mizukage was appointed." "I can't, I'm still a missing Nin. They will kill me on sight." Zabuza screamed. "I don't think they will. For a price, I can cash in a favor with the Mizukage to let you come back safely." "And what such an ANBU brat would have done with the Mizukage to earn a favor?" "I don't know, you tell me." Naruto said, igniting yang in his body, making golden flames appear here and there. Zabuzas couldn't believe who was before him. He knew that he had seen this mask somewhere, but now he knew where. "You are the Golden Demon, the juvenile ANBU who destroyed holds as if it was nothing with almost no help, thus making the rebels win. What this favor would cost me now?" "Simple, don't attack us and help us repel Gato's army," Naruto said, taking off his mask. Zabuza was shocked. He knew the kid before was holding back, but this was some outer space shit. "You are that brat from before." "What? How? Why?" The demon of the mist almost stuttered, seeing the whiskered face. "Kakashi and I have to pose as normal shinobi to babysit the Uchiha on our team because he's mentally unstable. That's why." "Then you don't need me to repel that army. You could destroy it in seconds." "Because there are kids here. I'm a Genin now. I can use at most 10% of my skills without causing suspicion and the Uchiha to go insane seeing how far away he is from his goal. Me fighting you before was already pushing it, but in the chaos, nobody checked. As to your question of how many I have killed, let's just say that what I will kill in the fight will be only a drop in the ocean. You got yourself a deal, Gaki. You will pardon me of not being able to shake your hand. Haku, do it for me, please. The now-named Haku came to Naruto and shook his hand. Now that you don't feel cheated, I will send a message to the Mizukage from here. Naruto has written something on a scroll and gave it to his clone who used Yang to shoot off in the distance. I will come back when the reply comes back. See ya. Naruto ran out as well. He entered through the window of Kakashi's room and exchanged with his clone. How has it gone, Naruto? Asked the downed Jonin. Great. We have an ally for the battle. I traded my favor with the Mizukage for it. Good job. Now go back to the others. They should be eating right now. Naruto came down, and true to Kakashi's words, everybody was talking and eating Bard, Sakura, and Sasuke. While Sakura did try to talk only for Sasuke to huff and growl. Ino didn't know how she could have a crush on this guy. Naruto-san, does Kakashi-sensei like the food? We can't afford much. He said that it was lovely, Tsunami-san. Now can I have my part, please? Naruto dug in his meal, and it really was good. He couldn't fathom how she transformed simple cabbage and potatoes into these delights. He gave a signal to Asuma to go see Kakashi upstairs. When Asuma did, Kakashi gave him all the information about the near future. They decided to train the newer generation for the fight and give them half a lie. We have bad news, everybody, so listen closely, Asuma said, carrying Kakashi on his back to put him on the couch. The Hokage decided to send some ANBU operators to scout out the mission for the future. But first, Zabuza is alive. Naruto gave us this idea when he told us about the Sanbon the Hunter Nin used. He was probably an accomplice. Second, the ANBU found out that when Zabuza would attack, once again Gato would double-cross him, sending his over 300-man army. The good news is that the operators struck a deal with Zabuza to not fight us and help us during the raid. We don't expect you to rush into the battle, but we will train you hard for the next 2 weeks in case some thugs slip through us. He couldn't tell them that the 2 operators were in the room with them. The Genins were scared. It would be their first battle, and it would happen at such a size. Ino was shivering a bit, so Naruto took her hand and offered her a reassuring smile. Sasuke was looking at it as a chance to prove himself. It wouldn't be as great as killing an A-rank Nuke Nin, but he would settle for it. Asuma, seeing the youth compose themselves, continued, Shikamaru, it will be your first time working a plan. Every day, you will go to the place where the battle will happen and work every possible way to give us an advantage. That's all. Eat well, because we will begin the training in a few hours. Troublesome, said Shikamaru, but his brain was already going at 200 kmh, taking into account all of his comrades' known skills and gear. I don't understand why you're going to do it. You're just going to die, said a young boy who ran upstairs. Tsunami shook her head at the sight. I'm sorry about it. It's my son, Inari. He's going through a tough phase right now. Please forgive him, she said with an apologetic look. Nobody cared about what the brat said. They had a country to save. A few hours later, the Genins were brought to different locations. Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, and Naruto went to the beach to practice water walking with Asuma, while Sasuke and Sakura went tree walking. Sasuke didn't want to learn it earlier, only wanting jutsus to get stronger. Sakura, on the other side, didn't have enough chakra to stay on water, so she had to build up her reserves. Ino looked at the 3 boys near the body of water. She didn't know why Naruto was here, since she has seen him already walk on water during the fight. Shikamaru and Choji were sharing the thoughts until Shikamaru asked, Naruto, why are you with us? We have seen you already walking on water. I'm here for Asuma-sensei. He's the only Jonin that I know of to have the wind chakra, like myself. He's going to help me begin a project of mine. I will give you a hint, guys. Take off your shirts. Second, don't think of it as tree walking. It's totally different. Instead of thinking about sticking to the surface, you have to imagine walking on stilts. Troublesome, Shikamaru said while taking off his top, and Choji doing the same. Ino wasn't going to do it with only guys around. She was disappointed that Naruto didn't do the same. She wanted to check what he looked like under his shirt, and, judging by his arms, he already had growing muscles. Meanwhile, Naruto was talking with Asuma. You see, I'm asking myself if by adding more chakra to the Hien no Jutsu, I would be able to shoot out of the blade. I don't think it could be done by adding more chakra. You would have to force it to stay together until the point of hitting the target. I would try in your case to make a thin hole in the water and hold it as long as you can. Maybe you can find something from it. Now off you go. Naruto calmly strolled on the water until it was deep enough for him to start trying what Asuma told him. He knew it was going to be difficult, so he started slow by making the hole large and blunt at the end. Not really usable in fighting, but it was a starting point. From now on, he wanted to keep it open for at least 10 seconds. 3 hours later, he was at the 9th second when 2 hands caught his ankles from under the water and made him sink in. It was Ino who was fuming for not being able to stay on the water for more than 10 seconds without losing balance. She was unnerved by the sight of Naruto, calmly squatting on it, mocking them in the process. Naruto had a begrudging look on his face, as if he was scolding a child without being angry. Seriously, Ino? I was so close to succeeding. He took his hairband off, letting his wet locks flow. Ino was looking at him a bit too closely. You look good that way, Naruto. Why don't you let your hair be free? He was really good looking with his hair loose, the water only accentuating the shine of it in the setting sunlight. I always keep them that way at home. They just get in the way while fighting, that's why I always tie them in the ponytail. He gained a naughty smirk. He took off Ino's hairband, as well making her hair go loose. You are the one to talk, Ino. You look good yourself without the ponytail. Well, you look good with both, he said, making the girl get a healthy pink color on her cheeks. Asuma smirked looking at the scene. He was so winning the bets right now. It wasn't the time for that, though. Okay, you lovebirds go back to training, he said, making Ino even redder and Naruto have the same color she had before. At the end, Ino was looking at Naruto, who had fallen a few times into the water by making the gap too wide and sinking in. The clothes were hugging him tightly, proving her theory about his developing frame. Little did she know that Naruto was looking at her as well, since she was drenched. It was one of the perks of having ANBU background that he was stealthy about it. Naruto-kun, aren't you a shy one? Shika and Choji have already lost their t-shirts long ago. You're the only guy with his clothes still wet and on him, Ino said, poking him in the ribs. Yeah, you could say that, he replied, being conscious about the scar on his torso. How many years it would take for it to disappear, at least physically. He wasn't going to lose, though, so he poked her back. This game of poking went until the end of dinner when Tsunami announced the rooms. I'm sorry, we don't have enough rooms for all of you since Kakashi-san is resting in his own. Don't worry about it, Tsunami-san. I will set a tent in the garden. That way I will set the watch, said Naruto. He was already used to sleeping outside from his younger days and his ANBU career. I will take the shower first, then be polite to each other, he said in a mocking manner, imitating the adults. The night has fallen, and Naruto couldn't sleep remembering the night when he was 4. It was so long ago, yet he still had nightmares about it. He mocked himself. What kind of S-rank demolition ANBU would have nightmares? Ino couldn't sleep remembering the face Naruto made when she teased him earlier. He was alone now. It was her chance to at least begin the conversation. She quit the room, hearing Sakura talking about her Sasuke in her sleep. How far has her friend fallen? Walking to the front, she saw Naruto sitting on the roof. She climbed up and sat next to him. Want to talk about it? She asked after a few minutes of silence. No, he whispered. Where was gone the cheerful blonde she knew? You know, Naruto-kun, you are a huge enigma to me. We never talked in the academy, yet you helped me from the start. Thank you, she said, closing the space between them. You don't have to thank me, he said, letting her continue. You see, when we were on the mission and we found the lab, I began asking questions. I went around asking what the people thought about you, and I guess you know the answers already. Then Zabuza asked how many people you have killed. Who are you, Naruto-kun? I don't want to talk about it. I'm not ready yet. Don't worry, I won't pry. Just know that I'm here for you whenever you feel ready. She got so close to him that they were delicately touching. Thank you. Ino-chan, can I ask you a favor? He finally added chan to her name. It was a big progress in her eyes. Of course, Naruto-kun. Can you stay like that with me for a bit? He didn't get a verbal answer. She only laid her head on his shoulder. Thank you, Ino-chan, he whispered. Dummy, you don't have to thank me, she whispered back. Next morning, they woke up in the same place, in the same position. The only difference was that now they had an audience looking at them with a camera. It was Asuma holding back his giggles. He could already feel the smell of Rio when he came back with this photo as proof. The duo groaned, knowing it was already too late to negotiate. They got up preparing themselves for the day. Inside, Kakashi, Asuma, Tsunami, and Tazuna showed them the knowing smiles. Tazuna couldn't keep it and fired. How was your night, everyone? To everybody else, it was the normal process of the host greeting his guests. To the knowing party, it was a huge joke. The adults burst out laughing, leaving the kids question their sanity. The Genins were once again sent to the field. No one could escape the training, even Kakashi, whose regeneration was sped up by Naruto, only enough to let him walk without crutches. Gradually, it would let him fight at least 2 days earlier than normally. Shikamaru and Choji went with the bridge builder as his protection detail. Shikamaru began his tour of the bridge, checking the plans and asking Tazuna about his stocks. He looked everywhere. Every nook and cranny could make their chances of survival go up. He went back to his post next to Choji and started scribbling over one of the plans they've given to him. That was the first time something was and wasn't troublesome at the same time for him. Fighting wasn't his specialty. He wanted to evade it at all costs. His ability to forge a plan for the battle would give him this possibility. It was always better to find with the brain than with the bronze in his family. Choji was calmly eating chips, getting bored because of the calm. He didn't know yet how much he would miss this calm in a few days. Seeing his partner finish scribbling, he found finally a way to get his boredom gone. Good job, Shikamaru. You must be having fun. You didn't say troublesome for at least an hour now. Fun? No. This kind of work pleases me. I just have to find a way to make sure that we survive, even if we fail to defend on the bridge. This suits me. I just have to use my brain. It's tiring, but still better than fighting. Hey, what do you think of Naruto? Naruto? He seems like an okay guy to me. I still remember him setting ways for us to escape from class. I still don't know how he did it, though. That's not what I meant. 2 days ago, while fighting, didn't you feel like he was suddenly too good? He was in an apprenticeship, wasn't he? When we were in academy, Kurenai-sensei was already training him in the real stuff. Maybe Shikamaru said, not believing at one moment. Now, though he would set himself on one of the posts to cloud watch, he needed the rest for the training this afternoon. Meanwhile, Naruto was assuming again his Slav squatting position and tried to make the whole stable and at least pointy in the water. Ino was walking next to him as if she was a newborn horse with water going up to her ankles. She was asking herself what Naruto was hiding under his shirt because she was sure it wasn't his chest. Wait for a second, Ino-chan. You can throw me in the water in a moment. I just think I made a breakthrough. He couldn't keep the whole stable in size. He could keep it open, but it would be blunt and fluctuate. His idea was different, though, to the normal one, though. Normally, when using wind chakra, you would imagine 2 strands of wind rubbing against each other, always perpendicular to the blade you wanted to coat. This way, it gave you an edge that didn't dissipate. It was the definition of the first stage of Hien no Jutsu. This time, making the wind go perpendicular to the water made the turbulent chakra at the end of the edge make the whole round and fluctuating. If he tried to send Hien that way, the blade would catch the vortices and it would disintegrate. He thought over it for a long time, asking himself how to eliminate the vortex created, but he came to a simple answer. He couldn't. This meant only one thing. He would have to take the turbulences out of the water. Thus, he started experimenting in different ways for the wind chakra to go. His new experiment was to make 2 streams in a rounded shape go parallel to the water. This way the edge wouldn't be made by rubbing, but by the angle and distance between the streams. He concentrated and began his experiment. Slowly but surely, He pumped more and more chakra until the water was spread apart. It finally made an edge that resembled that of a 50-year-old axe, jagged and worn, but it was still an edge. He completely forgot about Ino behind and stopped the chakra. It was the moment to attack. Ino pushed him only a little since he was already crouched. It didn't have to be much to tilt him and fall into the water. Ino began laughing at him until he decided to take revenge by pulling her in with him. They started laughing together. On the shore, Asuma was laughing as well because the others would have to pay up. Time skipped 2 days. Naruto was talking with Asuma and Kakashi when his clone came back with an answer from Uzumaki. They read it together and had to become poker-faced if they didn't want to start rolling on the floor. Zabuza had quite an ordeal out of it. Kakashi, I will go inform Zabuza and heal him. We're going to need all the help we can get. He made once again his clone to not arise any more suspicion since he already was talking with Asuma and Kakashi a bit too often for some of the other genin tastes, namely Ino and Shikamaru. He sprinted to the cave and knocked on the door. This time, he wasn't going to enter as if he owned the place. There were ninja inside. Jo, Sabusa, Aku, I have some good news for you. Here, take the letter. He started reading. Your status as Nukenin is revoked as of now. You are to return after completing your first mission as a Jonin of Kiri. Blah, blah, blah. P.S. I'm waiting for you, Zabukoan. Signed 5th Mizukage Meitarumi. On the bottom, there was an imprint of her lips with a heavy amount of pink lipstick. Mei-chan has become the 5th. Mei-chan, asked a puzzled Haku. Long story short, we dated before the coup. I didn't know she led the rebellion. I still remember when we were kids, she was strong, but this is new. She's going to chew my ass so hard for not coming to see her. Zabuza started shivering. This was new as well. A hardened assassin was shivering. You have your news, and since she accepted, let's get you out of bed to get the rust out of your joints. Naruto ignited the yang in his hand. Zabuza was scared of what he would do, but the warm feeling of the flame healing him made him comfortable. Zabuza jumped out of the bed, making all kind of moves he wasn't able in the bed. Ah, who would have thought that my ex-enemy would heal me now? Come on, let's go kill Gato. Sorry, Zabuza, we can't for now. We need him alive to get all of his bank accounts and his slave trading routes. That's the second A and BU mission I have. Now, go training. I will contact you next Friday to explain the plans. Anara is making them. See you later. He walked away, waving to the duo. Naruto went back to Kakashi and Asuma, giving a short report and prepared for training. He was so much closer to developing the new technique that he was too giddy to not continue. He missed this rush since he started training with the clones that sped up the training. Later that evening, Naruto was close to making the edge finer still that of an axe, but a sharpened one at least. That was a huge progress. Ino came to him, finally standing normally on water. How's it going? Surprisingly good. You're finally walking on water, good job. He told her, but she shook her head. It's not the time to self-congratulate. I have still a long way. I did it before the others because my chakra reserves are smaller. I need to train more. The drive this girl had was astounding. She took what Naruto said during his introduction to Heart and became better 2 steps at the time. We are going home now. The dinner should be ready in about 20 minutes. I will stay longer. I want to perfect this step. It shouldn't take long now. She nodded and skipped on the water to Tezuna's house. Sensing no one nearby, Naruto could finally do what he wanted, go full out. He pumped a great amount of chakra, making the hole at least 25 meters long. This has let him see the shortcomings in the edge much easier since it gave him a zoom-like option. After the 6th try, he fell into water. He took his hair band off, slicking his hair to the back of his head with a hand. That should be enough for today. He got out and made his way to the house. Outside, there was already a towel waiting for him. Drying himself, he entered inside. Everybody, even Sakura and Sasuke, were around the table. Shikamaru, seeing the blonde arrive, took out the drafts for the bridge with his notes over it. Naruto, come here. I found something that may let us live if something happens. Tezuna said he has enough materials to build at least 50 more meters of the bridge. Now look here. The bridge is sturdy. This put a proud smile over Tezuna's face, then he lost it when Shikamaru continued, "Too sturdy for my likings. The pillars don't have any weak points. They would take a considerable amount of damage before collapsing. Tezuna, I will need to ask you to weaken the last 2 pillars for me. That way, if anything happens, we can destroy the last 20 meters of the bridge, cutting the goons off." Everybody was nodding. This would give them an escape plan to regroup, if needed, and attack once again. "Count it done, son. We can rebuild the bridge, but we won't be able to do it if you guys get yourself killed," Tezuna said, counting in his head the best place to weaken the columns without it falling on itself. Soon Inari opened his big mouth to give another rant. "Why are you trying so hard? Why are you trying to be heroes? You're just going to die." Naruto directed his eyes at him and calmly said, "We aren't heroes, brat. We are shinobi. We kill, we steal, we deceive for a living. The only difference between us and Gato is that we do it for a good cause." "Shut up. You don't know Gato. What pain has he caused to everyone? You don't know pain. You live inside safe walls, sheltered from every bad thing in your life." Soon the room became cold and heavy. "Hey kid, I'm going to show you something. Asuma-sensei, give me your lighter, please." Inari wanted to run, but the cheerful, yet cold voice of Naruto made him stay. Naruto lit the lighter and put it against his skin for a good 30 seconds. His hand was charred, and he didn't even flinch. 30 seconds later, there was nothing, no scar, no red skin. "What do you see?" he commanded him to answer, still having this cold voice and the deranging smile on his face. "Nothing." He gulped, fearing for his life now. The guy before him was insane. Everyone else was looking at Naruto. Kakashi, Shikamaru, and Asuma were already preparing jutsus to stop Naruto, just in case. Naruto took the borders of his shirt and started lifting it up. Ino would be happy seeing that, but the situation wasn't letting her. Soon the ugly scar on his torso has showed, still as jagged as all those years ago. Ino looked at it. This was what he was hiding all this time. "I got this scar when I was younger than you as birthday gift. What do you think would need to happen to give me this thing, if the burn you have seen before healed, leaving nothing?" "I don't know. I'm a monster to my village, so on my 4th birthday, some sicko decided to see if I was human inside. He opened me up with a broken bottle and looked inside for so long that I was losing my humanity out there. And this isn't the only thing. I was living on the streets, and every day I was asking myself if today would be the last, to the point where I was contemplating suicide at 6. The people inside were shocked, learning his life story. Ino was getting some of the answers she wanted for so long. She would have preferred if she never asked those questions. And you know what? I'm not the only one with fucked up past in here. Sasuke had his own clan killed in one night by his own brother. Can you imagine that? Seeing your grandfather kill your mother. Then there is Kakashi-sensei, who was enrolled into the shinobi program at 6 to fight in the war. When you were playing with toys, he was killing for his country. So, tell me if we don't know pain. He was left without an answer. Kakashi was thankful that he didn't mention his dad's suicide. Sasuke was feeling a bit for the blonde. Ino was on the verge of crying, and Tezuna stopped drinking. "Kakashi-sensei, I'm going out before you have to use those jutsus you prepared under the table. Bye." He left, slamming the door. "Kakashi-san, why would someone say that Naruto was a monster? Was what he told true? Naruto is a special case. A fate was put onto him at birth that made all the village despise him. If you ask anyone for him, they will only call him things like monster or ask why he wasn't killed yet. I'm sorry, but I can't tell you more." Ino left the table in the direction of the door. Asuma tried to stop her going after him, to no avail. "He needs someone. He may be showing a brave face, but he's hurting inside. I'm going to see him." Ino followed his trail that he didn't even try to mask, as if wanted to be caught. She went after him to one part of the woods where she has seen him with his sword in hand. He opened his eyes and cried, "Sixth stance, grass cutter." It was like an instantaneous hien that was so long that it was going out in only a few seconds. Soon he did a horizontal slash, cutting the trees around him. He continued the slash until he has seen Ino in the way, stopping the attack. "Ino-chan, what are you doing here? You didn't tell us not to follow you." And you didn't cover your tracks, making it seem like you wanted to be found. Did he really do that? Maybe his subconscious was giving him a hint. He sat down in the clearing he made, and Ino sat down next to him. Want to talk about it? Yes. Go on, I will listen. They were so calm, it was almost as if nothing happened before. You remember the other night you told me about what the villagers thought about me. Want to know why? She nodded her head. When I was born, it was the day of the QB attack. They tell us in the academy how the Yondaime killed the beast. He didn't. He sealed it in a newborn infant. It was my lucky day because I was a perfect choice. He chuckled, trying to make a bad joke out of it. I have the QB inside of me. That's why I'm a monster to the villagers, a bad omen and memory for them. You must be feeling the same, right? He was already used to people making a 180 turn when they learned about it. Instead, she put her arms around him, making him know she didn't. Finally, someone his age accepted him. Thank you, Ino-chan. Dummy, I already told you not to thank me. You aren't a monster in my eyes. You are this big, goofy teddy bear of a teammate and friend of mine. Ino-chan, I think you have the right to know more about me and yourself now. About herself? You see, because of another incident, someone bomb-trapped my flat, I gained the powers of my tenant. I was too strong, and it was true that I had an apprenticeship, but only for 6 months. Then the Hokage and my teachers decided to put me into ANBU. At 9, I was already in the demolition department. He showed her his tattoo. If she didn't see what he did earlier, she wouldn't believe him. Then why are you on this team as a genin? I was coming to this. Ji-chan wanted me and Kakashi to babysit Sasuke because he is too unstable to be a ninja. This entire team was made to contain him if he went to the dark side. You as a Yamenka were a perfect candidate to judge his mental status. Then why did you start helping me? I wasn't your friend or anything. At first, it was a favor your father asked me. He was my psychiatrist in the ENBU. After all, it wasn't a good idea to let a 9-year-old kill so many and not give him mental support. But then you showed that you wanted to prove yourself. Then I just kept doing it of my own will. Ankone isn't calling you a brat anymore, you know. He laughed at it. Thank you for telling it to me. Now you are the dummy. I told you the same before. Now go back to the house. I will cool down here. No, I will stay with you. Thank you. Dummy teddy bear, she said, and Naruto reciprocated the light hug she was giving him. Next morning, they woke up lying on the floor, hugging each other, with Ino being particularly strong with her hold. You really are a teddy bear, you know, Naruto-kun. Your body is so hot all the time, it was like a warm blanket. Good morning to you, too, Ino-chan. Their waking ups were stopped by a cough just beside them. Haku was staring at them with a smirk. Aren't you a ladies' man, Naruto? Already taking them to the forest to sleep together, she said, making the duet blush like tomatoes. Not funny, Haku. What are you doing here? Oh, just picking some herbs to make poison for the battle. Naruto-kun, who is she? Asked Ino, not exactly knowing what was going on. You remember the hunter Nin that took Zabuza? It's her. You remember when Kakashi and Asuma told us about operators who have struck a deal? Well, that was me. He explained her, we should go now. I can already feel the smirks of the adults on my back. Bye, Haku, till Friday. He waved to her as she continued picking up herbs. Coming back, it wasn't only the adults, but Shikamaru and Choji as well, who had trouble holding their laughs in. What was so funny at trying to have a male-female relationship? Whatever, since he told Ino the truth about her mission in Team 7, he needed to inform Kakashi. He took his plate and started eating, feeling the stares from everyone. Only Sasuke and Sakura were doing something else. Namely, Sasuke was imagining his brother missing a limb, begging Sasuke for mercy, while Sakura was pestering Sasuke. Come on, guys, let it out. The longer you stare, the longer we're going to be in here. Naruto lamented. Asuma was the first one to ask. So, what happened between you guys yesterday? You haven't come back this night. This had 2 goals. The first one was to embarrass the teens. The second one was to know how much money he would get, because there were secondary bets on this couple, like when they would kiss or start dating. Nothing. Well, nothing serious. Ino helped me calm down yesterday, and we hugged till we fell asleep. Happy now. Ino was blushing at the declaration of what happened yesterday. They only shared a hug. Yes, just a friendly hug. Naruto, meanwhile, was tapping his fingers in irritation. The truth was far from it. He used the ANBU/Jonin Morse code, which said Ino knows, told, her, QB, Umbu, team, 7 talk, 10 minutes. Asuma and Kakashi understood and finished eating fast. Asuma asked if anyone wanted to smoke with him, making a diversion. Kakashi and Naruto went with him. Shikamaru was the only one to not cast this event aside as a simple way of relaxing after yesterday's ordeal. It only assured him that Naruto and the Jonins were hiding something. Ino was probably involved somehow. He hated this head of his for thinking about it against his will. Now that he was closer to the answers, he wouldn't stop midway. Outside Asuma, Kakashi and Naruto were talking quietly while smoking. It appeared that Kakashi had a small hole in his mask, just large enough to put the cigarette in his mouth. He would need to clean it, though, or else it would stink too hard for his tastes. We understood that you told Ino about your identity and her role in the team. Care to tell us why? Kakashi said while coughing on the smoke. Simple. She saw me using the 6 stance as well as my eyes. She has gotten strong enough to handle the truth about her role. The truth about 13 years ago was just a bonus. He answered, exhaling the smoke. He didn't know how people liked doing it. It tasted like ash. If you trust her enough, that won't be a problem. But since she knows, we need to train her harder, not like a normal genin, but as someone who can be useful in the least to seasoned ANBU. Said Kakashi. There is another problem. I think Shikamaru is getting a gist of what is truly happening. What should we do about him? Said Asuma, tasting his premium smokes. Are the perks of being a high-ranked shinobi. Civilians in lower ranks would have to pay a fortune to get their hands on this stuff. He's smart. Too smart for his own good, I would say. Let him sniff around for the moment. If he comes close to the answer, we will have to include him to make sure that he knows not to talk. Just in case up his training as well. Naruto said, putting out his cigarette. They went back inside with Naruto getting chewed out by Ino for stinking and made him go wash his teeth at least 5 times as well as change his clothes. She knew that in the future her boyfriend would be banned from doing it if she got one. While thinking of a future boyfriend, a certain blonde popped into her head. She shook it off. It wasn't the time for that. Okay, everyone get your asses in a gear. Let's go and train. Today, Kakashi and I are going to protect Tizuna. You're free to train however you want, and come to us if you need some guidance. This was made to let Naruto train Ino. Come on, Ino-chan, let's go together, said Naruto, grabbing her hand and running off to the woods. Are we to expect some babies on the mission? Said Tsunami, seeing the developing relationship between the 2 youngsters. Let's hope not, or her father will kill Naruto in a very painful way, said Kakashi with a serious voice. Inoichi was capable of doing it. He cared too much for his princess. In the woods, Naruto finally stopped, making Ino stumble a bit. She would have fallen if not for Naruto catching her into something of a hug. He let her go and stood before her. I would have said thank you if I haven't fallen because of you. Now can you explain to me why you had run with me so far? Are you trying to confess to me, Naruto-kun? She teased him. I might sometime if we continue like that. He teased back. Now to the serious matters. When we went to smoke with Asuma, we actually talked about you knowing the real purpose of our team and myself. We decided to up your training to make sure that Sasuke won't be a problem for you if anything happens. He may be a dickhead, but he's strong for a genin. Ino nodded and prepared herself. She didn't know what kind of training she would get from her ANBU teammate. Time skip 1 week and a half. The Friday has come at last. Shikamaru developed a good plan for the battle, and Naruto would give it to Zabuza as well as make the fine details with him. The genin were trained into the ground for the battle that would ensue in less than 24 hours. Ino and Shikamaru were trained even harder until they were trained even under the ground. Naruto continued on trying to use the Hien as a mid-range attack, and somewhat succeeded. The problem was that he would have to make the speed of the streams perfect or it would turn and wobble in midair. He fought it by making one of the streams much faster. This way the blade of chakra turned in a predictable curved manner. He named it Tsubame. Ino was trained by Naruto with the help of his clones. She was fighting against them to get a feel for a fight while outnumbered. He gave her some scrolls for Iryo Jutsus. She wouldn't be with him all the time when she climbed in ranks. Her smaller reserves let her learn it quite fast, and the training with them has helped her grow her chakra resources. Speaking of their relationship, it has moved to a new level. Ino couldn't stand Sakura talking in her sleep, so every night she sneaked into Naruto's tent and slept hugging what she called her living teddy bear. Naruto woke up every time with her in his sleeping bag. Who would have thought that her grip would be so strong? Maybe he would have to lessen her strength training if he didn't want to finish like a toothpaste one morning. The real problem was that she was feeling a bit too comfortable with him and kept taking her onesie pajamas to sleep with him. Hopefully nobody would talk about it to Inoichi, or Naruto wouldn't end well. Naruto right now was running once again to the cave of the Kiri shinobis. He needed to talk to them before the battle. He knocked on the entrance to make sure they wouldn't attack them. Entering their Zabuza was polishing his sword, a long tradition and ritual for him. Naruto, at last you've come. I guess you have plans for us. Naruto greeted them and took out the plans of the bridge. The Nara on our team studied the structure of the bridge thoroughly and came up with some ways to let us fight and live in case something happens without me reveling myself. Now, look, the battle will take place around here, 50 meters away from land. These pillars 25 meters away from land were weakened to make the bridge collapse with some simple tags if we are overrun. We could have put a few exploding tags here, and here, but any more, and we could make the bridge lose the integrity where it was weakened. Naruto explained, "Why don't we back 25 additional meters and put more tags where the columns are?" Zabuza asked, showing the place. We thought about it, but there is the possibility that we are overrun and our plan to collapse the bridge would only close us with the thugs. Maybe we could use my eyes to make a course to slow them down to make them come one by one. Haku added, "That would help us greatly, Haku. How many could you make there?" "Depends on the amount of water on the bridge. The ocean is too far down, and it would take too much time to block them out." "Can you do it with blood?" Naruto asked. "Yes, I could. How much could you produce?" "Let's check the math. They're supposed to be untrained and chaotic, so I guess they won't be further than 1 meter apart from each other. I have a technique that's around 3 meters wide. That should give us around 60 dead people. We can round it up to 300 liters. With the moisture in the atmosphere and the amount of blood, I should be able to make 10 columns. If Zabuza-sama would use Kirigakure no Jutsu and make a thick mist, maybe around 30. Great. I will ask Kakashi to make some earth walls with that. It should slow them down and turn the 10 versus 300 fight into a 10 versus 10 times 30 fight. We will count on you, Haku. Zabuza, I want you to go to Gato and precise the time of when you will attack. Asuma and Kakashi want to do it tomorrow at noon, so everybody sleeps well and gets ready. See you tomorrow, Naruto. I hope you will show me at least 15% tomorrow. In the chaos, it shouldn't make a difference. Oh, trust me, we have a way to turn it into much more. Just don't blink tomorrow. See ya." Naruto quit the cave thinking about the fight, how long it was since he was able to use some of his skills without the fear of being discovered. Outside, someone was waiting for him. It was a boy with pineapple-shaped hair and earrings, also known as Shikamaru. "Naruto, what are you doing here?" "Nothing. Nothing, my ass. I know you, Kakashi-sensei and Asuma-sensei, are hiding something big. I have a few pieces, but I can't connect them into something sturdy." Naruto changed his demeanor into a serious one. "What makes you think that?" "At the beginning, your placement into the teams was fishy. You were in an apprenticeship, and people aren't called back from it unless a big reason was made. Normally, they would have just taken the people that failed the test last year. Second, your team in itself. Ino was supposed to be with Choji and I to remake the Ino Shikacho team our ancestors made. Third, during our fight with Zabuza, you became stronger for a fraction of a second, too strong. Last, you were too friendly with the senseis. You would disappear with them from time to time. I don't know what exactly you're hiding, but I know that Ino's involved and knows as well. If it wasn't serious, she would talk about it from the start. You really are Shikaku's son. That brain of yours is just too good. How do you know my father? We worked once or twice together, or more like he would give me missions. Wait, he only gives missions to Jonin and ENBU. Don't tell me you were some ENBU on a secret mission. Naruto only chuckled and revealed his tattoo. Yes, I am. Kakashi-sensei is as well. We figured you would have figured it out sooner or later and made sure that if you know too much, we would tell you. So, you know how to close your mouth. I'm listening then. You see, Sasuke wasn't supposed to be a ninja. Since the Uchiha massacre, he has become too unstable to become something else than a genin. Add to that the council who pampered him, making his ego bigger than the Hokage monument. And you've got a huge risk. The Sandaime had to let him through under the pressure from the civilians who would have stopped their businesses with the shinobi. So he made Team 7. 2 ENBUs undercover and a Yamenka with a huge potential to make sure to stop Sasuke before it was too late. Troublesome. Is that why Sensei trained me harder than the others and you train with Ino? Or should I say you trained Ino? In this case, how strong you really are. Exactly. We knew you two could become great assets before everyone else. That's why we needed you to become stronger. To answer this question, the simple answer is I could fight on my own Kakashi or Asuma, but I'm not strong enough to beat them. The puberty hasn't finished for me, and until then I won't be in my prime. On the other side, I was on the demolition team in ANBU, so if anything bad happens, I will abandon my mission and clear the thugs in less than a few seconds. Now, come we shouldn't leave the others for too long. Oh, and take it, I added a few things with Zabuza and his trainee to the plan. They both ran to their base of operations with Shikamaru, checking the best way to slow down the attackers. With that, they probably won't have to blast the bridge into pieces. The night has fallen. Nobody trained today to make sure that they were ready for tomorrow. When everybody was asleep, Naruto, Asuma, Ino, and Shikamaru gathered in Kakashi's room. It's tomorrow then, said Ino, feeling nervous. Naruto took her hand to reassure her. Don't worry, Ino-chan. I will protect you no matter what. Even better, Kakashi found a way to make our odds at winning without me dropping the cover higher. Everybody in the room was looking at them, waiting for the moment they would get together finally. What is he talking about, Kakashi-sensei? Asked Shikamaru. I will use a Jinjutsu that will make the others see Asuma, Zabuza, and I killing the thugs. Meanwhile, Naruto will let loose for a few seconds to make the fight more even. Shikamaru, we don't expect you to rush in. You aren't exactly frontliners, but your abilities will let you protect the client when some of them bypass us. You learned a few medical jutsus. We will fall onto you if any of us get hurt. Shikamaru, I believe you are good enough to coordinate the other genins. I know that Choji believes in you as well. Asuma said. The atmosphere was getting lighter and lighter. Who would have thought that jonins were so fun to be around? After the meeting, everybody went back to beds. Ino went to the toilet since everybody knew she would sleep with Naruto. Shikamaru took Naruto aside. Promise me, you're going to protect her. Our families are close to the point where Choji, Ino, and I are like siblings. Don't worry about it. I won't let anyone harm her. Shikamaru smiled and went back to his room. Naruto waited for Ino and they went to bed together. For the first time, he hugged her first. Don't worry about tomorrow. If anything happens, I will save you and everyone else, even if that means showing my true identity. It would probably destroy the team and make me go back to normal roster as a Jonin. If that happens, how about an apprenticeship? He asked jokingly. I would love to, Naruto-sensei, she answered, teasing him. She hugged him back and both drifted away. Next morning, Naruto woke up with Ino laying on him. How did it happen? He had to admit, though, that she looked cute with her hair loose and her penguin onesie. He decided to let her sleep at least 15 more minutes until he woke her up by petting her head. He was asking himself if he was developing stronger feelings for her than simple friendship. She opened her eyes, fluttering her eyelids, adding to her cute appeal. He was sure that in the future, she would be a real beauty. Naruto blushed at the thought, but controlled himself. Good morning, sleepyhead. We should get up and prepare for what will happen. She nodded and steeled her nerves. Naruto was with her, and she was sure nothing would happen to her. They entered their house, with everyone getting their gear on. Shikamaru was counting the tags he had. Sasuke, Asuma, and Kakashi were sharpening their weapons. Choji was making sure that his belts with kunais on top were properly attached, and Sakura was... Why the fuck she was putting makeup on? Naruto and Ino soon joined the group and did their own preparations, with Naruto polishing his sword and Ino making sure her medkit was full. They looked menacing to the point where Tsunami didn't dare to enter and say hello, with Inari hiding behind her skirt. "You don't need to worry, Tsunami-san. We're just making sure that our gear is ready. We won't bite," said Kakashi with a nice smile. Everybody did the same, offering her a smile, soon to enter their battle mode once again. "Everyone ready? Then move out. Naruto left some clones behind in case Gato wants to take hostages," Kakashi said. Soon they entered the bridge, seeing that Zabuza and Haku were already here. Sasuke wanted to attack them nonetheless, but he was caught by his oversized collar thanks to Asuma. They neared each other until Zabuza said, "The kids from the last time have a better aura around them. We prepared them for that physically and mentally as much as we could." Kakashi then took him aside to mention how they were going to let Naruto go full power. Zabuza turned his head and mouthed to Naruto, "I will be watching," to which Naruto smirked. Speaking of him, he was tightly holding Ino's hand to keep her nerves levels down. "Just remember what we talked about yesterday." 50 minutes later, Gato came with his goons, planning on finishing whoever was still alive. To his shock, nobody was fighting, and they were watching him. "Zabuza, what is the meaning of this? Why aren't you killing the bridge builder?" "I should be the one asking that, you fat midget. You are the one bringing this army of yours to double-cross me." Zabuza took off his headband and replaced with a new one, delivering the scroll with Mei's orders, showing he wasn't a mercenary anymore. "Doesn't matter. You aren't strong enough to fight them all. Men, kill them." The army went onto the bridge. They were sneering, but so chaotic and disorganized that it hurt the shinobi's eyes. Kakashi started casting a jutsu in a way that everyone thought it would be a huge technique. In reality, it was the Jin jutsu they talked about before. Naruto ran at the thugs, grabbing Zabuza's sword by pumping yang into his arms and core. He charged the hien into the huge chunk of metal and shot the Tsubaime to the side. He tossed the sword back to Zabuza and began running into range for his next technique with his wakizashi drawn. The thugs laughed at him, looked the kid tied to show off, but he shot it to the side. Naruto didn't care and stopped 10 meters away from them. At this exact moment, Tsubaime turned around and cut at least 60 men in half. He didn't stop there. He crossed his arms, making his sword go behind the back horizontally. Soon a 20-meter-long hien-like blade was made from the wakizashi. 6 stance, grass cutter, one he slashed vertically. The numbers were down from 300 to 100. He jumped back to his peers. Kakashi, Asuma, and Zabuza had to wake from their shock and take the same positions they had in the Jinjutsu. Getting their Kakashi stopped the Jinjutsu. They could have let Naruto clear everything, but the Genin had to earn this experience. Ino and Shikamaru were astounded. Is it really my teddy bear? So, this was the power he was hiding? And I've got a feeling he didn't go all out, or we would have to build a new bridge. They didn't puke and position themselves. Haku created the ice pillars, and the Jonin inside backed away, with Kakashi closing the sides with Doton. Dorihiki. Naruto and Sasuke joined the fray, getting up close and personal, slashing, bashing, and using jutsus to kill their opponents. Shikamaru instructed Choji to join Haku at the middle ground, where he would catch those that passed through, and both of them would finish them off. Ino had her hands full as well. Whenever someone passed the second defense line, she would be the last one, as well as healing anybody who jumped to her. Sakura was talking with Tazuna. Meanwhile, Inari decided to stop crying and do what he could to help the shinobi. After that night, Naruto spoke with him a couple other times to make sure the boy comprehend what he should do. When ready, he asked one of the clones to come with him. It didn't think that staying was a good idea anyway, since Gato would know where to look for hostages. The clone took Inari and Tsunami, leaving a few others behind to protect the house. They knocked on every door, explaining the situation. Soon everyone was doing something to help. Men, Women and children were making barricades out of anything, blocking the possible escape for the thugs from the hands of the shinobi, and positioned themselves with makeshift spears to stab anyone who ran back. Sasuke was getting too giddy. He thought that killing them one by one was too easy, so he pushed them back further into the labyrinth. He was feeling the rush of the fight, not seeing that he was encircled and outnumbered. He looked at any possible escape. His vision was in slow motion, and he found out an escape. Naruto used his negative emotion sensing in case something happened, and he was right to do it. That shit stain wanted to switch with Ino. He couldn't stop it, so he did the best thing he could. He timed his Korimi perfectly when Sasuke used his he would switch with Ino, letting her fight on an even ground. Ino didn't know what happened first. She was teleported to where Sasuke was before, and a millisecond before a sword pierced her. She was in the place of Naruto. As she saw him get impaled, he turned with a smile to her, taking the sword out and sealing it with yang. He was furious now. His opponents didn't know who they were fighting against. He sheathed his sword and made claws with Ine around his hands. 20 seconds later, nobody was alive where he was, only dead bodies littering the ground and melting away. He would have a serious talk with Sasuke after this ended. 30 minutes later, the fight ended. Ino was healing a gash on Zabuza. Gato was bound in ninja wire, hanging upside down. They didn't let the villagers come yet. Seeing Naruto, Ino wanted to run at him to thank him for saving her, but she restrained herself, seeing his eyes. Eyes of a predator locked on Sasuke. Sasuke, what have you done before with Ino? She should be thanking me, to be useful to me. Yeah, that's right, said Sasuke and his lapdog. Naruto didn't care what happened afterwards. He took him by his collar, lifting him up, and started bitch slapping him at every word he spoke. How? You, Dade, say something like that, didn't you? Listen, what Kakashi Sensei said when we formed this team. If anything, your life is the useless one in here. Do you understand? Sasuke's face was bleeding and resembled a large pumpkin more than a face. Kakashi was furious as well. He would report the Uchiha when they would go back. Zabuza was laughing at the Uchiha. Even he wouldn't have done something like that, and he was called the Demon of the Mist. Naruto dropped him to the ground and said, "That was the second education lesson. I asked myself if he will live through the third." He went away as if nothing happened, and Ino came rushing to him. Naruto-kun, are you okay? He only showed his stomach. I should have been stronger, dash. He stopped her there. This wasn't your fault, Ino. You were strong, stronger than Sasuke, probably right now, who fights for wrong ideals. This situation should never have happened. He reassured her. Aren't you scared that he will go to the council? Nope. I have 3 jonins, 3 genins, and the client's testimonies, as well as backing from the Hokage and a few clan heads. Should be a breeze. He laughed. Time skip 1 week. The bridge was finally finished. Tazuna was happy that it wasn't collapsed. Gato was tortured into telling all of his information, and the money was returned to Nami as well as Gato for execution. Sasuke was locked in one room, as well as Sakura, who tried to let him out. Ino slept with Naruto every day, checking on him if his wound was truly healed. If you asked Naruto, it was more likely to touch his abs. It was time to part. Everybody said goodbyes, with Zabuza and Haku leaving earlier this week for Kiri. Teams 7 and 10 were now heading out when Inari came to Naruto. You've proved me wrong, Inari. There are heroes in this world, and you are one of them. If not for you, the battle would have been longer and tougher. Become strong. No stronger since you're already strong. They turn on their heel and finish finally their first turn a rank. What should we call this bridge? Asked Tazuna. The Bridge of Hope, answered Inari. I was thinking about the Great Naruto Bridge, answered Tsunami. They would settle it later at home. They had a lot to do today.